pick. Zalvin's in the house. Num is here. What's up? Finally, some common sense online. Right, Num? Right? Here's the thing. Kamala Harris is a horrible, horrible pick. Because you know what? People in the upper Midwest, which is where Biden needs to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those are the states that gave Trump the presidency. People in those states view Kamala Harris as a radical California liberal, which is what she is. Kamala Harris does nothing to help Joe Biden win the upper Midwest. More importantly, it also doesn't do anything to energize the party base, dude. She was very, very, very unliked. I'm going to update my title. Terrible VP pick by Biden. Updated title. She's hated by the party. She's viewed as a cop. She's viewed as a not a real progressive. Like, I just don't understand the pick. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible pick. Sledge is in the house. What's up, Sledge? Why, Sledge? If anybody thinks that's a good pick, you're going to have to explain why. Because politically and electorally, it's awful.
Injury and
Zalvin.
Death. New York City has an army of great police. I know them very well. And the law enforcement and the New York's finest are as good as it gets. And they should be allowed to do their job. If they do their job, if they're allowed to do their job, the New York City problem will be solved and be solved quickly.
Oh, right, Sledge? Right, Sledge?
Well.
Right?
The mayor, Bill de Blasio, should immediately hire...
I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens when you put yourself into a corner like Biden did. Guaranteeing a black woman as your VP choice narrows your choices down to where you're not going to end... This is why it's not good to do race-based choices like the Democrats do. I don't know, man. I think it's a terrible choice.
Back all of the police who were fired without justification. They were fired. I guess that's part of defund the police by the Democrats. They should hire New York City's finest back. You have some incredible policemen doing specific jobs that nobody else can do, actually, when it comes to terrorism and other things. Together, the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois have 25,000 police officers, sheriffs, and guardsmen available to quell.
That'd be terrible, Sledge. If Trump does that, he'd piss off so many conservatives and so many. That's a horrible, horrible idea. It'll never happen. That's not in the realm of possibility. It's a stupid idea, terrible idea. It will never happen. People love Pence as VP.
Any violence, they can do it very quick.
I might not vote for Trump if he did something like that, and there's a lot of other people that feel the exact same way.
Very easily, if allowed to do their jobs. Again, if allowed to do their jobs. Our police, our law enforcement is incredible, but they have to be allowed to do their jobs. The Democrats or
seems like that, Zalvin.
Democrats or both, because they're becoming one and the same. If you look at election results, the Democrats are being taken over by the radical left. The city of Portland and the state of Oregon have 10,000 fine officers and guardsmen available. Seattle, Washington.
You're not gonna get leftist feminists to vote for Trump because he picks a female VP. It's not gonna happen.
Washington and Washington State have 10,000 available. So Seattle, city of Seattle, and Washington State itself, they have great people. They have to be allowed to do their job. I'm urging them to deploy these resources to protect their citizens and to stop the violence and all of the things that we watch on television going on, although a lot of the, unfortunately, fake news don't like to put it on because it shows that the Democrats are doing a very...
Nikki Haley is an establishment swamp creature. She's the last person that Trump supporters would like to see as vice president. Mike Pence is rock solid. Mike Pence is maybe the best vice president we've ever had. The idea of replacing him with a swamp-creating, moderate establishment GOP is asinine.
Very bad job of law enforcement. They have to put it on. They have to be honest with the people of this country. But
Do
I'm
you,
offering
Sledge? I'm not a huge
all
fan.
available federal support requested to stop the violence and arrest the criminals. We have to be asked by the governors or the mayors, and we'll be there very rapidly. It's ready, willing, and able. We're all ready, willing, and able to go to these jurisdictions and take care of them. We'll do them very quickly. You saw what happened in Minneapolis. They ripped the city apart. When the National Guard went in, it ended immediately. It was immediate and lasted.
Immediate, and lasted. I'm from South Carolina. She can play the identity game in a way Democrats can't counter. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you know her better than I do, but I don't think playing the identity game is something that Republicans ought to be doing. I think we should be picking the best person for the job, regardless of their sex, regardless of their skin color. You start trying to play the identity game with Democrats, and that's how Republicans end up losing. Because if you have the choice between a real Democrat and a fake Democrat, aka a Republican trying to play the identity game, the real Democrat's going to win every time. I don't have anything against Nikki Haley. My understanding is she's a little bit more moderate and a little bit more establishment than a lot of other Republicans, but I like her. I like Nikki Haley. I just hate the idea. I hate even the idea of replacing Mike Pence, because Mike Pence is awesome. Mike Pence might be the best vice president this country has ever had. Mike Pence has got after Trump wins in 2020, Mike Pence is primed to go in 2024. Mike Pence is the least corrupt, most principled vice president we've ever had. And so the idea of replacing Mike Pence pisses me off. So I don't really have anything against Nikki Haley. It's more the idea of trying to replace Mike Pence. Exactly, Zalvin. Mike Pence is very wise. PM is in the house. What up, PM? Welcome.
These acts.
I don't mean to get all crazy on you there, Sledge. Don't take this personally, or don't get too upset with me, please. Nikki's a female Trump. I seriously think she's groomed by 24 as VP in the main. Well, I hope you're right, Sledge. Good. I like Nikki. I don't have anything against Nikki Haley. So if she is like a female Trump, then awesome. I would love to see Nikki Haley run in 2024, 2028. Great, I think it's fantastic that she's a good, conservative. So don't let me let my love for Pence get too much in the way here of Nikki Haley. Mike Pence is a rock. He is, Numb. He's the most statesman, most principled, least corrupt person in the world, it seems like. South Carolina's in the house. What up? Good question. Runyum. What's up, Runyum? Nikki has shown her colors after she stepped down. She's done a bit of defense work for Trump. Well, good for her. I like Nikki, but she shares a lot of leftist views. I've heard that, but like, what is it? What are Nikki Haley's views that are like considered to be like either moderate or more left? Kamala's the best pick. It's basic math. No, Via, you're trolling, right? You're trolling, right? Kamala Harris is maybe the worst vice presidential pick in our lifetimes. In modern days, Kamala Harris might be the worst pick ever. No, Via. Sounds about right. Julian Drago, what up?
Not isolated incidents, but demonstrate the pattern of violent left.
Oh, Shyla. Exactly, Shyla. Kamala Harris is incredibly unlikable. Oh, she's awful. Why do you think she got smoked in the Democrat primary? She's very unlikable. She's, I mean, not a nice person. Doesn't come out, not very warm, very cold, very calculating, dishonest. I mean, Horrible pick. Red Rover Collective, what up? TLSK, Mind Over Body. Welcome, everybody. Her stance on criminal prosecution is pretty centered. Dude, she has no principles. That's the thing. She was an attorney general in California and acted like she cared about prosecuting people. And now she's wanting the radical left. Now she's wanting to say that, you know, cops are bad when she was a top cop in California. It's like, dude, she'll say or do anything to get elected. She will say or do anything to get elected. Plus, what happened to Willie Brown? Or what happened with Willie Brown? Tulsi destroyed Kamala Harris. Tulsi totally destroyed Kamala Harris to where I don't even know how Kamala Harris is still alive after that. Novaya, that's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, Joe Biden, you have to win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, the upper Midwest. Those are the states that gave Trump the presidency. How does a far left radical from California help Joe Biden win the upper Midwest? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The only way it makes sense is that Biden backed himself into a corner by narrowing his choices down to black women, and she was the best choice for black women, but not like the best choice overall if you weren't making choices based on skin color and genitalia. But like the people in the upper Midwest and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan, they're going to view her as a California liberal, which is what she is. And then the radical base of the Democrat Party views her as a cop and as establishment Dem and tough on crime. And so it pisses off the radical progressive base. It doesn't help Joe Biden in the upper Midwest. I'm just going, honestly, what's the reasoning? Jimbo Slice, welcome. Honestly, what is Joe Biden thinking? Right, Novaya. The only other thing I can think of maybe is that they know that Joe Biden's going to lose, so they chose her because they don't care if her career is ruined. Because once you lose a presidential campaign, your political career is tough to come back from. So maybe they just put her up as like the sacrificial lamb so that when Biden loses and she loses, it's not that big of a deal for the party. It's not like losing to Stacey Abrams, who they think is like the future of the party, or an AOC.
Wing extremism that you get to see if you're watching the right news program. Under any rational definition, the arson attack on the police precinct in Portland would be considered an act of left-wing domestic terrorism.
Feedback fire, welcome.
They really are anarchists. These are left-wing anarchists. They are anarchists. And I'm directing the Department of Justice to stop these anarchists immediately.
Right, Alpha. Right, Alpha. After Kamala Harris literally called Joe Biden a racist. Like, have a little self-respect and dignity, Joe Biden. You just chose as vice president the person who called you a racist several months ago. Why, Chris Defa, though? Why does the DNC want Kamala Harris? I think I heard about that, Mind Over Body. I saw something on Twitter about that.
Up them and to work with the city and the state
right,
to get the job done.
She's siding with the racist.
Local authorities have to investigate and
Good question, Sledge.
all of these crimes immediately. We'll work with you, and the local authorities know who they are. They know where they come from. They know, and the local authorities know who they are. They know where they come from. They know a lot about them. They ought to get their act together and get it done, and we're ready to help. If you need that help,
Crazy,
you should
man.
know a lot about them. They ought to get their act together and get it done, and we're ready to help. If you need that help, you shouldn't need that help, actually. You should be able to do it yourselves and get it done very well. Again, you have excellent police and law enforcement, but you have to let them do their job. What you're seeing in Portland, Seattle, New York, Chicago is really the Democrats should be able to do it yourselves and get it done very.
Okay, there's something wrong with this. All of these other news conferences were like 30 minutes long, and that one was an hour. I'm not sure why. Something's wrong with that video, though.
When it comes to terrorism and other things. Together, the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois have 25,000 police officers, sheriffs, and guardsmen available to quell.
Monkey Man, what's up, Monkey Man? Are you sure Mike Pence will run for president? Well, nobody knows for sure, but I've no reason to see why he would not run for president. I mean, he'll be the continuation of Trump. Think about it. Trump is maybe the best president we've had in our lifetimes, the best president in a generation for sure. And Mike Pence was with Trump every step of the way, all 8 years. The American people are going to want the Trump administration to continue. What better way for the Trump administration to continue past 2024 other than with Mike Pence? I mean, I think by the end of Trump's second term, Trump is going to be maybe the most popular president we've ever had. Ego probably DNC likely chose Harris as their preference during the debate based on identity politics. They thought she would win until Tulsi knocked her down hard. It'll be Cruz probably in 2020. I think Cruz will run, Novaya. I think Cruz will run in 2024. Not one news outlet is talking about it because it's a white kid that died to the hands of a black man for no reason. Oh, right. Mind, yeah. Yep. Doesn't fit the media narrative. Pence is too hardline moral conservative. You can't win the swing vote. I think that's BS. That's just anti-Christian bigotry. I think that's BS. If you actually look at Republicans that have been conservatives and strong conservatives, they're the ones that win. Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, Donald Trump. People that believe that line, Novaya. Oh, we need moderates for the Republicans to win. He can't win swing votes. That's how you get John McCain and Mitt Romney, who, guess what, lost. So that argument is BS. I agree, Chris Tifa. I think it's likely Pence wins in 2024. I agree. I mean, Pence has proven himself during the 8 years of Trump. Pessimistic Corn, what up? Hey man, I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but I'm open to ideas. Can you just explain what makes Trump such a good president? Sure, Pessimistic Corn. Primarily, he's not corrupt, and he's not part of the corrupt establishment swamp in D.C. He's independent from all of that. I'd say first and foremost, that's the main thing that makes Trump so great, is that he's not part of the corrupt establishment in D.C. Right, Jimbo Slice. That is the simple vote, yep. I'd vote Cruz over Pence. I like Cruz and Pence, honestly. I'd take either one of them. Lecture is absolutely right there. Thank you, Chris Tifa. Kids' lives matter. I agree.
Any violence, they can do it very
Correct,
quickly,
Alpha.
very easily,
Correct.
if allowed to do their jobs. Again, if allowed to do their jobs. Our police, our law enforcement is incredible, but they have to be allowed to do their jobs. The Democrats or the radical left Democrats or both, because they're becoming one and the same. If you look at election results, the Democrats are being taken over by the radical left. The city of Portland and the state of Oregon have 10,000 fine officers and guardsmen available. Seattle, Washington, and Washington State have 10,000 available. So Seattle, city of Seattle, and Washington State itself, they have great people. They have to be allowed to do their job. I'm urging them to deploy these resources to protect their citizens and to stop the violence and all of the things that we watch on television going on, although a lot of the Unfortunately, fake news don't like to put it on because it shows that the Democrats are doing a very bad job of law enforcement. They have to put it on. They have to be honest with the people of this country.
Yep, true.
But I'm offering all available federal support requested to stop the violence and arrest.
Exactly, Christy. McCain and Romney and Bob Dole. It's like look back at the last 30 to 40 years in American history. Every time the Republicans went with this line about, oh, don't nominate a conservative. Don't nominate somebody who's a conservative. That'll scare off the moderates and the independents. Every time we do that, Republicans have lost. Bob Dole, Mitt Romney, John McCain, etc. Every time the Republicans have nominated a conservative, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, Donald Trump, who ran on pro-life, pro-family policies, they win. The reason is because the whole idea of the moderate, the independent vote swinging the election every time is a complete myth. That's conventional wisdom. That's mainstream media. That's what the media wants you to think. It's completely garbage. It's completely false. The elections are determined by turnout. That's why get out the vote is so popular or so important. You have to energize the Republican Party. You guys realize that voter turnout's only like 50%, right? And you realize that only like 40% of Christians vote. Only 40% of Christians vote on any given election year. So most people don't vote. And so when the Republicans nominate somebody that's actually exciting to the base, you turn out that Republican base, the Christian base, you win elections. You go down this mainstream media conventional line of, oh, you have to make the moderates happy. You make the independents happy. You don't nominate a conservative. That's how you get Mitt Romney and John McCain. And then nobody turns out to vote. You have really low Republican turnout. We lose. So this whole thing about, Mike Pence can't win. He's a Christian. It's like, oh yeah. How did Donald Trump win running on a pro-life, pro-family policy with Mike Pence as vice president then? Huh? That's completely anti-Christian bigotry. Many people on the left are incredibly bigoted when it comes to religious people and especially Christians. Tons and tons of prejudice and bigotry towards Christians, and that's primarily what it is against Mike Pence. Completely false. Scaremonger tactics based on lies about Mike Pence that really doesn't come from a good place. It comes from bigotry and prejudice against Christians, and Mike Pence has proven that he's PM Nacho, PM me your nachos. 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you so much, PM. Thank you so much, PM. Guess is in the house. Tundra's here. What's up? Dickie Stumbles, welcome. Wow, PM. Thank you so much, PM. Thank you so much, PM. That's awesome.
To criminals, we have to be asked by the governors or the mayors, and we'll be there very rapidly. It's ready, willing, and able. We're all ready, willing, and able to go to these jurisdictions and take care of them. We'll do them very.
Really? When, guess? When did Sushi and Destiny debate? And you mean Suspect Sushi? When was that? And where's the VOD?
Quickly.
I'll check it out.
You saw
I'll
what
check it out,
happened in
guess.
Minneapolis. They ripped the city apart. When the National Guard went in, it ended immediately. It was immediate.
Blayton Newbury, what's up, Blayton? That's hilarious.
These acts of destruction are not isolated incidents, but demonstrate the pattern of violent left-wing extremism that you get to see if you're watching the right news program. Under any rational definition, the arson attack on the police precinct in Portland would be considered an act of left-wing domestic terrorism. They really are anarchists. These are left-wing anarchists.
Pessimistic Corn. Searching for good, clean news that gives a fair representations to both sides is a fool's errand. You're not going to find it. Pessimistic Corn. There is no such thing anymore. as good, clean news that gives a fair representation to both sides. What you need to do, pessimistic corn, is recognize the reality that all news is biased one way or the other. Recognize the reality that human beings are biased, and there's no such thing as non-biased sources. And do the way our justice system does it. Look at one side advocating for their position. Look at the other side advocating for their position. Listen to both sides and make up your own mind. Just expecting somebody to tell you what the truth is and what the middle of the road is a fool's errand, especially when it comes to news where much of it depends on your perspective, your global viewpoint, how you view things, opinions, principles, values, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And to that extent, you can read right-wing news and you can read left-wing news, and then figure out what portions of each are facts, what portion of each are opinions, what portion of each are based on a certain viewpoint or value. And make up your own mind. But this idea that somewhere out there there's a news source that's completely non-biased, and that's all you'll have to look at and read is not out there. It really isn't. Lazy Boy Bound, what up? Welcome. It was host versus suspect and loyal logic versus a typical cast of lib fools. Okay, cool guess. It's on Prime Panel, on Suspect, and a Prime Panel. Okay, on Suspect Sushi's. Okay, maybe after this Trump press conference, I'll watch a little bit of it. What were the issues, guess, that you think Suspect beat Destiny on? For sure, Alpha. Dems are never happy. Dems are very unhappy people, if you haven't noticed. Progressives, leftists, they're very, very unhappy people. They have tons of hatred in their hearts. They don't enjoy comedy. They don't understand comedy. They don't laugh. They're very unhappy people. You have to be a very unhappy person to be a leftist. So, very well explained. Thank you. You bet, pessimistic. You bet. Farrell, what's up, Farrell? Thank you for the follow. My guy, I have a school board meeting in a few days. You have a good place to get into the combat the left shutting down in school classing and going online learning? Oh my gosh, yes, Farrell. I mean, I would start with Dr. Atlas, Farrell. I would look up Dr. Atlas and bring statements and sources from Dr. Atlas. He's really good on that issue. And then I would just talk about how important school is and how much harm is caused by shutting schools down, and explain that, you know, kids only have 1 year in any given grade, and that is a very important year, and that shutting down schools is very damaging. And Dr. Atlas I would just start with Dr. Atlas and try to find some of his writings and some of the sources that he cites and start there. How he proved he called him a racist slur. Oh, wow. Okay, guess. Holy cow. That's hardcore. Could have sworn I did follow already yesterday. Oh, nice, Alpha. Thanks for following now, then. Goose5, welcome.
They are anarchists.
Thrash, what's up, Thrash?
The Department of Justice to stop these anarchists, immediately to stop them, and to work with the city and the state to get the job done. Local authorities have to investigate and prosecute all of these crimes immediately. We'll work with you. And the local authorities know who they are. They know where they come from. They know a lot of...
Dr. Hoshaw, if people actually knew how to wear masks, would you recommend them? No, I wouldn't recommend masks. That's just my personal opinion. If people want to wear them, great. Do they reduce the possibility of transmitting the virus? Yes. If they're worn properly, do they reduce the possibility? Even if you assume everything that the left says about masks are true, no, I wouldn't recommend them, because my personal values are that I think the psychological harm caused by mask wearing outweighs the benefits that they have. That's a value judgment. That's my opinion. A bit of an aside, but why are only 40% of Christians voting? Seems a bit low. Because most Americans don't vote. I mean, voter turnout is only like 50% or something. So they're just your average, normal. And maybe it's higher than 40%. I think that's what I read, but whatever it is, it's a low number. It's just because they're human. They're Americans. I mean, voter turnout has always been low. I mean, historically, voter turnout is voter turnout. Yeah, dude, look at this. 2012. So, oh my God, dude. In the early 1800s, it was literally less than 5%. And then recently, in like 2012, it was still less than 45%. So literally, it's like 40%. I mean, it's not unusual for only 40% of the population to vote. So, I mean, Christians are like other people. 40% of them vote. I mean, that's all there is to it. Voter turnout is traditionally in the United States around 2016 voter turnout 55%, 2012 55%. You go back to like 1996 49%. Huh, this is a little bit different than the graph they showed. Maybe that's different. But either way, I mean, that's just voter turnout, man. That's why it's like this idea that you have to get the moderate independence when voter turnout is 50% instead of actually just getting out the vote of your own base is political malpractice. David 24, what's up, David 24? That's funny. True though. That's horrible, Feral Ape. I think that's absolutely horrible that schools want children to wear masks. I think the psychological damage that does to children is way outweighs any benefit that might come from it. Feedback, that's crazy. Happy Love, welcome.
About them. They ought to get their act together and get it done, and we're ready to help. If you need that help, you shouldn't need that help, actually. You should be able to do it yourselves and get it done very well. Again, you have excellent...
I highly doubt. I don't believe that for a second, Dr. Hoshaw. I don't believe that's for a second. 50% of people who got the virus get permanent heart damage. That's false information. I don't like false information in my chat.
Police and law enforcement, but you have to let them do their job. What you're seeing in Portland, Seattle, New York, Chicago is really the Democrat roadmap for America. They want every city in America to resemble Portland in a form. They want to pass federal legislation gutting and hamstringing every police department in America. They want to get rid of your Second Amendment. They want to end cash bail, close prisons, defund police departments, or at least largely defund. You see that with New York, $1 billion they took out of their police department, and crime has gone through the roof. And appoint far-left prosecutors who side with the criminals and target law-abiding citizens. If the left gains power, no city, town, or suburb in our country will be safe. On the vaccine front, some very good news. Today I met with the leaders of Operation Warp Speed, our historic undertaking to produce a safe and effective vaccine in record time. We heard an update from the top scientists in the government and the leaders of pharmaceutical companies, which right now aren't too thrilled with me. They're taking millions of dollars worth of ads because I've created a favored nation status for drugs, which is going to reduce drug prices by 40, 50, 60, and maybe even 70% in some cases. Numbers that have never been heard of or thought of. So when you see those ads, remember that means your drug prices are coming down. When you see ads attacking your president, it's very simple. That means drug prices are going to be falling very soon. This evening, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Moderna.
Why isn't Trump talking about the Kamala Harris pick? I thought he talked about that. Did you guys see the real Donald Trump tweet? He just tweeted. Let's read what his latest tweet is. Sad to see the damage from the derecho in Midwest. 112-mile-an-hour winds in Midway, Ohio. The federal government is in close coordination with state officials. With you all the way. Stay safe and strong. This is such a good ad.
Kamala Harris ran for president by rushing to the radical left, embracing Bernie's plan for socialized medicine, calling for trillions in new taxes, attacking Joe Biden for racist policies. Voters rejected Harris. They smartly spotted a phony. But not Joe Biden. He's not that smart. Biden calls himself a transition candidate. He is handing over the reins to Kamala while they jointly embrace the radical left. Slow Joe and phony Kamala. Perfect together. Wrong for America. Kamala Harris ran for president by rushing to the radical left, embracing Bernie's plan for socialized medicine, calling for trillions in new taxes, attacking Joe Biden for racist policies. Voters rejected Harris. They smartly spotted a phony. But not Joe Biden. He's not that smart. Biden calls himself a transition candidate. He is handing over the reins to Kamala while they jointly embrace the...
So good, dude. So good.
Moderna to manufacture and deliver 100 million doses of their coronavirus vaccine candidate. The federal government will own these vaccine doses.
Oh, Zelvin, German study showed 60 patients of 100 had inflammation of the heart after COVID. They're calling that heart damage. More biased research. Right, Zelvin. And then what they do is they say they'll do studies in the media reports and they'll say it's long-term heart damage. And then you get people that go around spreading it like, oh my gosh, it's permanent. It's permanent. When it's like, no, how can you say it's permanent? This virus has only been around for 8 months. Nobody knows if it's permanent. Why would it be permanent when no other virus... There's a difference between long-term and permanent. Long-term might be a year, might be 2 years. There's no evidence to suggest that the coronavirus does anything other than long-term damage, not permanent. But people who are not smart, who are leftists, they hear, oh, long term, it must be permanent. And then they go talk about how it's permanent. It's like, dude, no, it's not permanent. There may be as long-term lung issues, but the human body is amazing. It can repair itself after a year or two. And how stupid do you think we are? The virus has been around for 8 years, and you expect us to believe you that you know what the permanent conditions are when we don't even know how the virus spreads. We don't know what herd immunity levels are. We don't know if there's T-cell immunity. We don't know all these different things about the virus. But you expect us to know, oh, we know 100% for sure this is permanent. Give me a break, dude. Oh, I know. I'm so upset, Novaya. I'm so upset about the churches in America canceling church services and allowing the government to ban churches. Really, I'm really disappointed in the American churches as well for allowing the government to tell them they can't have church. Like the churches, who would have ever thought that in the United States of America the government would ban church and that all the churches would just go right along with it? Super disappointing.
We're buying them. Recently, we also secured partnerships with Johnson & Johnson, as well as Sanofi.
I can't tell, Saintly Wig, if he's trolling or joking or if he's actually like spreading misinformation. Like I'm pretty sure that's not good to go around spreading misinformation about coronavirus. So I'm not sure what he's doing. Riding fences in the house. What up?
And GSX to support the large-scale manufacturing
Thanks, Elvin.
of their vaccines, doing very well in those vaccines. Tremendous promise in every single one of them, and we have many of them. And they're years ahead of schedule. This would have been, if it were in the previous administration or any of the previous administrations, where we are now would have taken years. 3 vaccine candidates are now in phase 3 trials already, the final stage of clinical trials. This is the final stage. We are investing in the development and manufacture of the top 6 vaccine candidates to ensure rapid delivery. The military is ready to go. They're ready to deliver a vaccine.
Notice he doesn't have a source. He just wants to go around saying there's permanent damage from Corona. No source whatsoever. Okay.
To Americans as soon as one is fully approved by the FDA, and we're moving very close to that approval. We're on track.
Well, Blayton, of course there's a lack of data on long-term permanent damage from coronavirus. But here's the point. No other coronavirus, including SARS, including MERS, including the common cold, the flu, none of these other things cause permanent damage because you know what? The human body is amazing. The human body repairs itself. The human body is a miracle from God. It can repair itself. The idea that this is what's so like people expect us to believe that the coronavirus is the only virus, the only coronavirus that's singularly unique, that all these different things about it. And it's like, no, it's most likely it's not. Most likely it's not the only coronavirus ever that does XYZ. I mean, it's preposterous. These people expect us to believe that coronavirus is unlike every other. The COVID-19 is unlike every other coronavirus, including the common cold, SARS, MERS, the flu, etc., etc. When do you predict the vaccine will be available? I have no idea, sheep. In Russia, it's already available. In Russia, they've already got one. So, I've heard from Trump that it's going to be ready by the end of the year. I have no reason to think anything else. I'm not going to take the vaccine though, so doesn't really matter to me. DCD34, what up? Fear-mongering at its finest? Exactly, TLS. Exactly. Running a marathon causes permanent heart damage because of the scar tissue on the heart from running a marathon. Oh my gosh, permanent heart damage from running a marathon. Well, Dr. Ho, maybe you shouldn't just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Maybe link a source. You can put links in my chat. You have yet to put any source in there. So, Maybe quit just saying the same thing over and over and over again and actually cite a source. If you're going to make an outrageous claim like that, go ahead and cite a source. I'll look at it.
To rapidly produce 100 million doses as soon as the vaccine is approved, and up to 500 million shortly thereafter. So we'll have 600 million.
Exactly, Vepton. Not even close.
Doses. Operation Warp Speed is the largest and most advanced operation of its kind anywhere in the world and anywhere in history. We've treated more than 86,000 Americans with convalescent plasma. A recent Mayo Clinic study found that this treatment may produce results which are incredible. We look to a reduction and reduced mortality rate by 50%. And possibly even more than 50%. I urge Americans who have recovered from the virus to go to coronavirus.gov and sign up and donate. We would really appreciate that because it's been very successful, unbelievably successful, and we would love you to go and donate. As we continue to confront the global pandemic, the United States economy is rebounding with strength like nobody thought possible. You've seen the numbers. You see what's going on yesterday, today, and tomorrow, in my opinion. We're very poised for a great third quarter and very poised for some great stock market numbers and 401k numbers and everything else. Today, the Dow Jones passed 28,000 points for the first time, more than a 50% surge since just March. So we've increased by 50% more than since just March. It has gained approximately 9,500 points that same period, March, and has recovered nearly all of its value since the virus struck our nation. Think of that. America's economy.
People who recover from corona may have lingering heart damage and inflammation months after their initial infection, even if they were not hospitalized. A small study suggests. Okay, so I read the first sentence of your source, and it in no way supports what you're saying. You literally are saying that there's like 3 or 4 different things that are different about this than what you put in. I'm ratty. No, Lady Lecturer, she's never been mad at me. What are you talking about? I'm ratty. Why would she be mad at me? The study involved 100 adults. About a third required hospitalizations and 2/3 recovered at home. On MRI scans taken more than 2 months after their diagnosis, about 3/4 of the patients showed signs of heart abnormalities, including inflammation of the heart muscle. Many patients also had detectable levels of a protein in their blood called troponin that can indicate heart injury, such as damage after a heart attack. However, exactly what these findings mean for patients' heart health in the long term is unclear, the author said. The heart abnormal. This in no way supports your statement that coronavirus causes permanent heart damage. If anything, this proves that it doesn't. The heart abnormalities occasionally occur with other respiratory diseases such as influenza and may be temporary. It literally says in your own source that this is temporary. You did, Sneaky. You did say. I was wrong, man. I didn't think it would be Kamala Harris. I honestly did not think it would be Kamala Harris. Dude, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. This doesn't support anything of what he was saying it did. Novaya.
Is incredible, and its economic recovery is outpacing our peer nations. Last quarter, the European Union's GDP decline was nearly 40%. Worse than the United States. So
Thank you,
40%
Telm.
worse than the
Telm Speedrunner. Thank you, Telm. Wow. Saintly wig. Yeah, exactly. The scar tissue in hearts from endurance training is another example. Permanent heart damage. But the point is that even his own source, he came in here saying coronavirus causes permanent heart damage in everybody that gets it. And it's like, dude, you have a study that there's like 3 different things wrong with that. First of all, it's not permanent, it's temporary. Second of all, it's not in everybody. Third of all, it just suggests this. All other times this happens, it's temporary. It's like the source doesn't support the claim, but typical leftists, I guess. I mean, you get one study of literally 100 people only, a tiny study, where a couple months later they had similar heart issues that are caused by the flu, the regular flu, and then they come in here saying, "Oh my gosh, coronavirus causes permanent heart damage to everybody. Oh my gosh." Talk about panic porn and fear-mongering and anti-science. Holy cow.
The United States. We've built such a strong base that we're able to do things and sustain better than anybody in the world.
Needs Vaseline with the sub. Tier 1 sub. First time. Needs Vaseline. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the Tier 1 sub. Welcome to the sub club. Welcome to the lecture fam. Good to have you here. Needs. Thank you for that Tier 1 sub. Very much appreciate that. If you guys want to support conservatism on Twitch, I am a capitalist. I like to make money. And I do support capitalism. And I do like subs and cheers. So thank you so much, man.
World by far. France's
Novaya,
GDP
yeah.
decline was nearly 80% worse than ours, and Spain experienced an economic contraction.
I'm Ratty, gifting the tier 1 sub. All right, guys, we need one more person and we'll get a hype train. One more person to do a sub, one more person to do 100 bits, and we'll get a hype train. Spud is in the house. What up, Spud? I'm a cardiology unit. Troponin can be an indicator of heart damage or stress, but it's not the only thing it indicates. It's a protein that can be detected in the blood that can indicate many things. That's why they don't wheel people straight into the cath lab off of higher troponin levels. That's ridiculous. Huh. Interesting. I don't know that much about that. All right, guys, we need one more person to do 100 bits or a sub. We'll get a hype train going.
Twice as severe as the United States.
Zayton Live. Why is Harris a bad pick? Kamala Harris is a horrible pick. PM hype train, baby. Thank you, PM. Gifting the tier 1 sub. Hype train. Let's go. Hop on the hype train, folks. Kamala Harris is a bad pick because Joe Biden needs to win the upper Midwest. Kamala Harris is a California liberal that will do nothing to help Joe Biden win the upper Midwest in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. It's just, if anything, it'll hurt Joe Biden. Kamala Harris will probably hurt Joe Biden in the upper Midwest. This election is going to be decided in the upper Midwest. How the hell does anybody think that Kamala Harris helps Joe Biden win in the upper Midwest? It doesn't. The upper Midwest views Kamala Harris for what she is, which is a corrupt, unprincipled, far-left, pandering California leftist. So it doesn't. We're 94%, guys. Oh, there it is. I'm Ratty gets us to 100%. Thank you. I'm Ratty. 300 bits getting us to 100% on the level 1 hype train. Let's make it to a level 2 hype train, shall we? So she's gonna make the upper Midwest not vote for Biden. But she doesn't even excite the Democrat base. Kamala Harris doesn't even excite the... Did you not see all of the leftists calling her Cop Mala? They literally think she's a cop because she was the attorney general. She prosecuted people. She put people in jail. And she put people in prison for smoking marijuana. The far left thinks she's an establishment Democrat. She does nothing to excite the base. She turns off upper Midwest voters. I don't get the only way that I can explain this pick is that Joe Biden boxed himself into a corner by saying that he would pick a black woman and then ran out of basically options and boxed himself into a corner and had to choose her. Or Joe Biden and the DNC knows that Biden is going to lose and they didn't want to scar their rising stars like Stacey Abrams or AOC or Ilhan Omar. And so they pick somebody like Kamala Harris who really doesn't have much of a future in American national politics so that their real rising stars like Stacey Abrams will be able to run in 2024, 2028 without having lost the presidential election. That's the only... I honestly can't come up with any other explanation because it's like this doesn't excite the base. It doesn't help you in the upper Midwest. It doesn't help you in swing states. Like, what is Biden thinking? I would love to see... Okay, you know what it is? I saw Chris Cillizza at CNN. Classic CNN fake newser. Classic CNN... establishment thinking, conventional wisdom. What CNN says is that Zayton, she is far left, but the far left doesn't think she is. That's the difference. She actually is far left. She's given herself over to the far left. She supports all the nut job left things like Medicare for all and stuff. But the real progressives don't think she's legit. There's nothing inconsistent about that. Number one, she actually is a far left lunatic. Number two, the far left base lunatics don't think that she's far left enough because she's a phony. Nobody trusts her. The far left knows that Kamala Harris was just pandering. Minute 45 left on the hype train, folks. Got to get it to level 2. We're 11% of the way to level 2 hype train. A minute and a half left. Lecture is based. Thank you, Wump Patrol. Thank you. There's nothing inconsistent about... Okay, so here it's how she's viewed. In the upper Midwest, in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, she's viewed as a far-left California liberal. In New York City and L.A., she's viewed as a cop. She's used... Pessimistic Corn with the tier 1. Gets us up to 39% of the way there. Thank you, Pessimistic Corn. Thank you for the tier 1, man. Welcome to this. Welcome to the sub club. Welcome to the lecture fam. Spud. 2 weeks. I agree with that. A female who hates guns, that won't play in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio. Exactly, guess. It's not going to play in Michigan and Ohio, Wisconsin either. She literally said, Kamala Harris literally said that she would ban guns with an executive order. Whoa! Raven Looney with the 500 bits. Gets us 67%. We're at 67%. 30 seconds left. Thank you, Raven Looney. Thank you so much, man. Holy cow, you've cheered a total of 7,000, Raven Looney. Thank you so much. That is so cool, man. I appreciate that, Raven Looney. Uh-oh. 15 seconds left. Coming in hot. Rift Tracks, what up?
Nationwide, we continue to see improvements in our fight against the pandemic, very substantial improvements. Since last week, 87...
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, Kamala Harris during a debate... Hype train success. Kamala Harris, in a debate, said that she would ban guns with an executive order. You realize how absurd that is? 4 subs, 800 bits. Thank you, guys. Everybody that participated in the hype train. Thank you, guys. Kamala Harris literally said that if Congress didn't ban guns, she would do it. She's a dictator. She's an authoritarian. She's a tyrant. Biden may not want to abolish the police, but he does want to transfer funding away from the police, which is the opposite of what most Americans want. Incredibly, incredibly unpopular position to try to take away. Blatant Newbury with the 100 bits. You missed it. It's all right, Blatant Newbury. You missed the hype train, but I appreciate the 100 bits anyway. Thank you, man. Appreciate the 100 bits. Muchas gracias, senor. Thank you so much. Weeble Girl. I have no idea how I got a gift sub. Ooh. It should tell you. If you go to your Twitch notifications, it'll tell you who gifted it to you. Archimedes. What up, Archimedes? Welcome.
percent of the counties in the United States report declining cases. Think of that. 87% of the counties in the United States, they reported declining cases. Mortality has declined by 7% and hospitalization.
Exactly, Rift Tracks. Exactly, Rift Tracks. That's the important point. Nobody likes her. You just alienated everybody in the Midwest. You alienated the base of the party. Like, it's a stupid pick. Notice that Zayton Live here never had any explanation of how she's a good pick. Oh, I was going to explain. The CNN establishment conventional wisdom had the stupidest take on why Kamala Harris is such a good pick. It was like, Kamala Harris, number one, she's already been vetted. She's been vetted because of her own 2020 presidential campaign. Number two, she knows a lot about governments, and she was the attorney general in California, and she was a U.S. senator. Number three, she's won multiple statewide races in California. It's like, That's so stupid. That basically describes every politician and every potential VP pick. So that was Chris D'Eliza at CNN. Just a complete joke of an explanation. Destinate, what up?
Are declining rapidly. States that were primary hotspots, such as Florida, Texas, and Arizona, have reduced cases by nearly 25%. But all Americans must remain vigilant.
Joe Biden doesn't need to. She does not appeal to centrists, dude. She's a California liberal. She doesn't appeal to centrists. She's a horror. No, she just doesn't. If she appeals to centrists, why did she get absolutely smoked in the Democrat primary? Moreover, Biden doesn't need any more support from centrists. Biden claims to be the centrist. He should have picked somebody seen as more conservative. Like I thought a better pick would have been or somebody from the upper Midwest like Klobuchar. He should have picked Klob. Picking a California liberal does nothing to help you in the upper Midwest. Pick somebody seen as more conservative like Klobuchar, who's actually from the upper Midwest. Picking a California liberal to try to appeal to centrists in Michigan is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, we really need to win the sort of more conservative leaning Democrats in Michigan and in Wisconsin. Hey, let's pick a California leftist. Doesn't make any sense. The truth is that he painted himself into a corner and didn't really have many choices. So he was stuck with a terrible choices. I mean, he could have chosen Susan Rice, the primary liar for the Obama administration on Benghazi, who went out and lied to the faces of the American people about a dead American ambassador after Benghazi, purposefully, knowingly lied to the American people about a terrorist attack that killed American ambassador overseas. I mean, that was his other choice. It's like he painted himself into a corner. When you start, that's the problem with defining your pick by sex and by race, skin color. It's like Biden should have never said that I promised to pick a black woman. It's like, dude, why don't you promise to, how about promise to pick the best candidate that's out there? How about that? How about pick the best candidate regardless of skin color? How about following what Martin Luther King Jr. taught and judging people not based on their skin color but on the content of their character? How about that? Archimedes, I wouldn't say Joe is solid in the Midwest. I see a lot of Trump signs around here. For you, Biden, I think that's true all across the country. Even Democrats that are going to vote for Biden aren't very excited about him. That's why I'm really confident, really comfortable Trump is going to win because, again, get out the vote is incredibly important. When you literally have 50% voter turnout, turning out the base and your excitement levels is the most important thing. That's why the Democrats are so obsessed with universal mail-in voting, because they think that'll cause people to actually vote. The truth is that Republicans actually do okay under mail-in voting, because it actually still takes a little bit of effort to vote, even when they mail your ballot. You have to fill it out. You have to read the instructions. You have to fill it out. You have to put it back in the thing. You have to mail it back. Like, even that effort is too much for most of these Democrat liberals. And so Trump's enthusiasm is sky high. I mean, you've got people like me. I will do anything. I will do whatever it takes to help Donald Trump win. If there's something I can do to help Donald Trump win, I will do it. I will, I'm running a Twitch stream every night to try to help Trump win. I will do whatever it takes to help Trump win. And a lot of other Trump supporters out there are just like me. We all have extremely high enthusiasm for Donald Trump. Joe Biden, on the other hand, I have yet to hear a single Democrat who's excited and enthusiastic about Joe Biden. Most people are like, he's whatever. Wait, no, via what line do you use all the time? Remember actual activism? What line do you use all the time? He needs to appease the BLM, don't you know? He'll never appease the BLM. Joe is losing the Midwest. Joe hates pipelines. Most blame BLM for the riots. The rise of COVID spikes. Joe has yet to call Chicago. Exactly, guess. And, yeah, Joe Biden is opposed to fracking, you know? It's like, dude, how are you going to win Pennsylvania when they have so many fracking jobs and people support fracking? Joe Biden screwed himself because in order to win the Democrat primary, he had to go far left, which tanked him for the general. Who's been your favorite Republican candidate in the last 20 years? Well, I guess if I had to now, I would say Trump. I guess before maybe Ted Cruz. But Trump has done such a good job as president. It's just like, man, I couldn't be happier with Trump. I mean, I could be. I've got my criticisms of Trump. Sometimes I'm hammering Trump left and right. But yo, Suspect Sushi's in the house. What's up, Suspect Sushi? Welcome to the stream. Judging people by the content of their character. Oh, okay, yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if Democrats still believed in judging people by the content of their character instead of the color of their skin? I wish Democrats would listen to Martin Luther King Jr. a little bit closer. Kamala being picked for VP is going to screw the black voter base if they even remotely research her. Right, Suspect Sushi? Right? She literally, Kamala Harris literally spent her years putting people in prison for smoking marijuana at the same time when she was smoking marijuana and laughing about it. And I don't think that's not a race issue. That's just a character issue that black people and white people are going to be like, yo, what the hell's wrong with Kamala Harris? Let's watch the Tulsi takedown of Kamala Harris. You guys remember that? Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Auto completes.
I took on Washington Democrats to defend.
Suspect Sushi, the Slayer of Destiny. Ha ha ha, love it. Oh. Yeah, Alpha 2K, I'm glad you landed here too. Thanks for finding me. I'm glad you found me. Glad you found this stream. I've got the best community on Twitch. These are all the people that watch me on Twitch. They're all the smartest, most informed, best Americans and foreigners on Twitch. So we got a whole community of smart, informed, good, wonderful people here. Glad to have you.
It's unfortunate that we have someone on the stage who is attempting to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States, who during the Obama administration spent 4 years full-time on Fox News criticizing President Obama.
That's
who
ridiculous,
has spent full-time criticizing people on this stage as affiliated with the Democratic Party. When Donald Trump was elected, not even
Darthtanian, what up?
Buddied up to Steve Bannon to get a
Welcome.
meeting with Donald Trump in the Trump Tower, fails to call a war criminal by what he is as a war criminal, and then spends full time during the course of this campaign, again, criticizing the Democratic Party. What we need on the stage in November is someone who has the ability to win. And by that, we need someone on that stage who...
Kamala Harris is just not a nice person. She is not a nice person. She comes off as very mean. She's mean-spirited. She's just not nice. She's not likable. She comes off as conniving. She comes off as dishonest. She seems very dishonest, very cold, very, very cold. You know, Tulsi Gabbard, on the other hand, very, very wonderful personality, very likable, comes off as warm, comes off as honest. It's really remarkable, the difference. Think about the difference between like Tulsi and Kamala Harris in terms of which one comes off, as a likable person and not. Tulsi Gabbard would have been 10 times the pick Kamala Harris is.
has the ability to go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and someone who has the ability.
Look, she's so disingenuous. I can just feel like the scum and the rottenness coming off of here. She's so disingenuous. There's not a genuine bone in her body.
To rebuild the Obama coalition.
Right, Christifa. Yeah, she's not as bad as Hillary or Warren, but she's getting close. That's a great point.
And bring the party and the nation together.
Yeah, she is corrupt. Epic. That's probably one of the reasons she got chose, is because they know that she has no principles, she has no values that she sticks by. She'll say or do whatever it takes to get elected, and whatever the Democrats tell her. So, she's an empty suit, just like Biden. Her and Biden are just like Hillary Clinton. No principles, no values that they stick to. It's just whatever's popular, they'll say and do it. But that's how a lot of Democrats and leftists are, is they actually don't have real beliefs that they stick to. I mean, when was the last time you really felt that there was Bernie Sanders is the exception. Bernie Sanders is like the only Democrat recently that has actually had like strong beliefs that he sticks to. The rest of these Democrats are totally just empty suits. They'll say or do whatever they think is popular. Right, Spud? Yeah, that was crazy how different Kamala Harris looked when she went on TV after whatever procedure she got. That was remarkable.
I believe I am that candidate.
Thank you, Senator.
Yes.
Congresswoman Gabbard, I'll give you a chance to respond.
What Senator Harris is doing is unfortunately continuing to traffic in lies and smears and innuendos, because she cannot challenge the substance of the argument that I'm making, the leadership and the change that I'm seeking to bring in our foreign policy, which only makes me guess that she will, as president, continue the status quo, continue the Bush-Clinton-Trump foreign policy of regime change wars, which is deeply destructive. This is personal to me because I served in Iraq. I left my seat in the state legislature in Hawaii, volunteered to deploy to Iraq, where I served in a medical unit where every single day I saw the terribly high human cost of war. I take very seriously the responsibility that the president has to serve as commander-in-chief, to lead our armed forces, and to make sure always, no, I'm not going to put party interests first. I will put the interests of the American people
Congresswoman. I want to briefly give Senator Harris.
What? This isn't even the clip I was looking for. Oh, well. We'll have to maybe find it later, because I would like to see that clip where Tulsi Gabbard absolutely destroys Kamala Harris for, remember when Tulsi Gabbard attacked Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris was literally putting people in jail for smoking weed, and then she was laughing and joking about how she used to smoke weed. Remember that? And she was talking about what rap albums she would listen to when she smokes weed. What? How horrible is that? Putting people in prison for smoking weed and then laughing and joking about how she used to smoke weed too.
Practice good hygiene, socially distance, wear a mask whenever possible. Whenever you are getting too close to people, wear a mask and protect the elderly. Always protect the elderly. Since the end of July, the 7-day average for cases in the United States has fallen by nearly 20%, but the virus continues.
Oh, okay. Thank you, TS. This is probably it.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice
Right, Suspect Sushi. Right, I remember that. And then the rap album she was talking about wasn't even released. That's right. I remember that, yep.
It's a system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place.
Oh, by the way, guys, I was down at the courthouse today doing my marriage license stuff, and there was a guy there collecting signatures to get Kanye West on the ballot in Montana and asking people, hey, are you a Trump supporter? Hey, are you a Trump supporter? Oh, cool, yeah. Here, sign here to get Kanye West on the ballot in Montana. And so I stopped and talked to him for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, we're collecting signatures to get Kanye West on the ballot to try to help Trump. So no, there is Suspect Sushi. Of course we should put Kanye on the ballot. Yes, Kanye West is running to try to help Trump. So Kanye West is out there, and Republicans are out there collecting signatures to get Kanye West on the ballot to help Trump, because obviously it's going to be the Democrats that are more likely to vote for Kanye West. Although it's weird because Kanye West has, developed this reputation as a Christian and as kind of a conservative Trump supporter. So I'm not so sure that the votes will actually go towards to help Trump. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And we've seen other reports and stuff in the media or in Twitter and stuff about how it's Republicans that are really working to get Kanye West on the ballot.
Impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
That was such a good takedown. Such a good takedown by Tulsi. True, legendary, true.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
Look at the way she laughs. Look at that little scumbag laugh. You can tell that Tulsi's right, and you can tell she's uncomfortable because of that little sick little grin she puts on. Look at that.
Owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
That's the guiltiest look I've ever seen on anybody.
My entire career, I have been personally opposed to the death penalty, and that has never changed. And I dare anybody who is in a position to make that decision, to face the people I have faced, to say, I will not seek the death penalty. That is my background. That is my work. I am proud of it. I think you can judge people by when they are under fire, and it's not about some fancy opinion on a stage, but when they're in the position to actually make a decision, what do they do? When I was in the position of having to decide whether or not to seek a death penalty on cases I prosecuted, I made a very difficult decision that was not popular to not seek the death penalty. History shows that, and I am proud of those decisions.
Total snake. Total snake. I don't believe her for a second. She just comes off as just the worst of the worst kind of liar. So disingenuous. You can just tell she doesn't even believe what she's saying. It's all this fake emotions, and not good, dude. Not a good pick. Horrible pick. Terrible VP pick by Biden. All right, guys, I'm going to take a pee. Be right back.
Continues to increase in nations across the globe. Last week, France and Germany both recorded their highest daily number of new cases in 3 months. Not that I want to bring that up, but might as well explain it to the media. The 7-day case average for Germany has increased by 62% since last week, unfortunately, and that is truly unfortunate. It's increased 82% in France, 113% in Spain, and 30% in the United Kingdom. Those are big increases. Cases are also rapidly increasing in the Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, Switzerland, Slovakia, Estonia, and other European countries. And in our country, they're going down. We will be seeing that even more rapidly as time goes by, short time. Even though America has the largest at-risk population, including 1.5 million residents of nursing homes, about 5 times that of other European countries, Europe has experienced a nearly 40% higher excess mortality rate than the United States. We also have fewer deaths per capita, excluding the disastrous deaths from the New York tri-state area, which had a very, very hard time, and did better than our peer nations of Western Europe, thanks to our excellent and highly advanced medical care and skill, something that the news doesn't tell you. They don't tell you that. They don't like to tell you that. The United States has now conducted more than 66 million tests, far more than any other nation in the world. India, which has a population of 1.5 billion people, has done 24 million. So we're at 66 million. And think of it, India's at 24 million, and India is second. The entire region of Latin America, comprising 33 countries, has conducted 25 million tests, yet Latin America has more confirmed cases by far than the United States. As we safely restore our great economy and reopen our schools, and hopefully we can watch colleges play football. We want to get football in colleges. These are young, strong people. They won't have a big problem with the China virus. So we want to see college football start, and hopefully a lot of great people are going to be out there. They're going to be out there playing football, and they'll be able to fight it off, and hopefully it won't bother them one bit. Most of them will never get it, statistically, but we know.
Those are incredible numbers. Those are truly insane numbers. We've tested twice as many people as Latin America as a whole, but they have more cases. That proves 100% that Trump is right about these tests, his statements on the testing. Of course they have more cases and half as many tests because they're only testing people with symptoms. Suspect Sushi, I'm getting super close to enlistment. Hopefully I can be on the Austin show again before I enlist. Would be cool icing on the cake before I can no longer be a political streamer. Wait, really, Suspect? That's cool. I didn't know that you were going to enlist. Congratulations, man. Good for you. Much respect. But I didn't know that you can't be a political streamer if you're in the military. I guess that makes sense. Dude, and the other thing I was going to say about what Trump just said, it's like, so now Donald Trump is in favor of college football, and Democrats are opposed to college football. Do they think that's going to be a smart political move? Yeah, we're really smart politically. We're going to be opposed to college football. It's like, college football is popular amongst Republicans and Democrats. How are Democrats thinking that that's a smart political move to be anti-college football? Awesome, Suspect Sushi. Awesome.
We'll see more cases at some point, and we will eventually develop sufficient immunity in addition to everything else that we're doing. So college football, get out there and play football. People want to see it.
Sinja,
And
what up,
stand for your
Sinja?
American flag. stand for your national anthem.
Heinrich the Mummy, by the way. Heinrich the Mummy, welcome.
Because people are not happy when that doesn't happen. You look at the NBA and what's happening with the NBA and their poor ratings. I don't know. Can't imagine why, but they didn't stand. They didn't show respect to our flag. They didn't show respect to
Horrible.
Our national anthem.
Horrible.
And maybe that's having an impact, but just not good. The NFL had its problems 2 years ago when that happened. They went way down in their ratings and their fans, and they struggled back, and now all of a sudden they're putting themselves in the same position. So stand for your flag and stand for the national anthem.
Yep, I do.
I think you're going to do.
I stand and put my hand on my heart for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem. And for when the flag, like if there's the color guard, I stand and put my hand on my heart for until the flag is put out with the color guard all the way through the national anthem and until the flag is removed by the color guard. Stand and put your hand on your heart the entire time. Notre Dame, 3 months. Thank you, man, for the tier 1, Notre Dame. Thank you so much. Kamala Harris is hot AF, riding with Biden now. Thank you, Notre Dame. Thank you for the tier 1, man. Man, the subs are hot tonight. Thank you guys for everybody for subbing. Appreciate that. Notre Dame, welcome back for the 3 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastically well. Because a lot of people aren't going to watch if you don't.
I am a capitalist. Remember, I am a capitalist. So I do appreciate those subs, Notre Dame. Thank you, man.
I'm one of them. That's why our strategy and attention are focused on preventing the cases that are most likely to require discussing the opening of schools, hospitalization, or produce any death. We have to maintain vigilance over our elderly population. We've learned that, I think, more than any single event.
You like that, Sneaky? If it's annoying or if it's off-putting, tell me. Because, like, I don't want to be like appear as if I'm begging for money or, you know. I just like it because it's fun because Democrats are anti-capitalist but are trying to make money on Twitch. So, but if it gets annoying, if I ever say something like that, you guys, and you don't like it and it comes off poorly and it looks bad and you think it's hurting me, then please tell me.
Scott, we have.
I find it very humorous. Okay, thank you, Riff Tracks.
To be very vigilant all over, but we have to really protect our elderly population, and especially our elderly population that has problems with heart, lung, any form of sickness, diabetes in particular.
Thank you, Sinja.
And we are at the same time in very good shape with respect to hospital room and hospital overcrowding. We're in great shape. On the nursing home front, protecting our nursing home residents is a critical focus of our strategy. HHS recently announced that they.
Let's see how the fake news mainstream media is covering it. What's Drudge? It's Kamala. Wow, look at that picture Drudge Report shows. Doesn't even look like Kamala Harris. That's maybe the best picture. So Drudge Report literally chose like the one picture where Kamala Harris actually looks with like she has a genuine smile. Come on, Drudge. Come on, Drudge. Thank you for the follow.
Will use the Provider Relief Fund to deliver an additional $5 billion to further protect nursing homes and long-term care facilities as they continue to combat the China virus. We have delivered over 1,800 rapid point-of-care testing devices to nursing homes, and we are in the process of delivering these devices to all 15,000 Medicare and Medicaid certified nursing homes by the end of September. So they're going to have very rapid tests. They won't have to wait around 2 or 3 days or 4 days, and that number has come down very substantially compared to what it was when you send it to the labs. You get very accurate tests, but it takes a period of time to send it, to check it, and then to send it back. But we are now at a position where we're sending very...
Right, Altair. Right, Altair. It's so ridiculous. Oh. Well, Biden's in big trouble, man. Biden is in big trouble. Speaking of which, let's look at the Trump's polling numbers have been on the upswing. Let's see if they're still on the uptick. Yup, look at Rasmussen, dude. Rasmussen's latest poll has Trump at 49 approved, dude. Holy cow. And RCP has him at 43 approved. Remember, I've been saying for 2 years, if Trump is at 43 or 44 approve, 42 even if Trump was at 42 approve, Trump still wins the election because this is people that approve nationwide. And remember, Donald Trump won in 2016 with literally 46% of the vote. Trump needs 46% of the vote to win the election. He doesn't need 50%. He doesn't need 51%. Trump can win 2020 with 46%. And if you've got 43% that approve, that means that all those 43% will still vote for Trump. And then Trump only needs 3% of people that don't approve to still vote for him, which they will when Joe Biden's the other choice. Plus, it's only 55 disapprove, which means there's 2 or 3% that don't approve or disapprove. But if you've got 43% locked in, he needs 3% more, which he can easily pick up. Which there's at least that many people who disapprove of Trump. But the left is so insane that they'll vote for him anyways, even though they disapprove. So these are reelect numbers. If Trump is at 43 approve, disapprove, going into election day, Trump wins. And Rasmussen, remember, Rasmussen was the most accurate in 2016. Rasmussen has him at 49 approve, which means more people approve of Trump right now than voted for him. Emerson has him at 45. The Hill has him at 44. CNBC at 44. All of the rest of them have him at 40, 42, 40, 42. So Trump is at reelect right now, dude. Trump's numbers are solid. Look at North Carolina, Emerson. Trump up 2. Emerson has Biden up 9 in Pennsylvania. I don't know if I believe that, really. Pennsylvania, Trump v. Biden. Wow, CNBC in late July had Biden only up 2, which is within the margin of error. But more importantly, Biden can barely crack 50% in Pennsylvania. Rasmussen has Trump winning in North Carolina. Biden only up 3 in Minnesota. Biden only up 4. Biden at 50 and Trump at 46. Dude, when Trump is in the margin of error on all of the battleground polls in August, despite a crashed economy and a pandemic, and these are fake polls, remember. This doesn't, you always have to add 10 points for Trump on any of these polls because of the shy Trump voter. These numbers are great for Trump. If Biden is only up 3 or 4 points in all the battleground states like this, the polls show him up 3 or 4 going into the election, that's a solid, easy win for Trump. I'm feeling really good. It's all about the enthusiasm. I agree, Novaya. That's the other thing. All of these polls don't take into account the massive enthusiasm gap. Need something to do it again and think I burned 8 to 10K calories at work. Nice, PM. So I'm feeling so much better. I feel so good tonight, guys. As a Trump supporter, knowing that Joe Biden just chose Kamala Harris, I feel awesome, you guys. I honestly feel awesome. I feel like we're in a great spot. Ohio, let's see what the latest Ohio polls are. I don't see an Ohio poll from recent. Ohio, Trump v. Biden. Biden up 4. But that was from... Oh, shit. So the Ohio Trump v. Biden, the latest one has Trump up 1, dude. CBS News YouGov has Trump up on Biden. And then the ones from middle of July and back in June have Biden up 4, which is just outside the margin of error. And that's Rasmussen and Ohio Media. Dude, these numbers are so good for Trump. These numbers are so good for Trump.
Rapid test, 5 minutes to 15 minutes.
I agree, Rob. I absolutely agree, Rob. I think Minnesota could easily go red. Oh, Cherry Banana. What's up, Cherry Banana? Hi, been watching for a bit with Mama Lecture. Fun to hear about Kamala. Oh, cool, Cherry Banana. Thanks for watching. And Mama Lecture in the house. Hi, Mom. Love you. It's like I'm on TV after an NFL football game. Hi, Mom. Rant War 62, welcome. Rant War, you looking at the polls? Yeah, I was just going over the latest polls. I feel great about these polls. I mean, you've got Trump up 1 in Ohio. Trump within 3 or 4 points in all of the other battleground states. And remember, these are the fake polls. These are polls meant to dispirit Trump voters. These are polls that don't take into account the enthusiasm gap. These are polls that don't take into account the shy Trump voter. I always explain it this way. Let's say we live in a... Whoa, Sinja Ninja, gifting a tier 1 sub to You Are Loved. Woohoo. Thank you, Sinja Ninja. 3rd gifted sub in the channel. Thank you, Sinja Ninja. (2016) Pennsylvania, 11 August 2020 versus 2020 Pennsylvania. Why, Rant War? Just tell me what it means. Just tell me what it says, Rant War. No, but here's the way I always explain the polls. Let's assume Mama Sinja needs to show her support too. Heck yeah, Sinja. Heck yeah. Let's say we live in a society where if you publicly come out as a Trump supporter, you will be viciously attacked and smeared. You will be called a racist. You will be called a homophobe. You will be called a bigot. You could lose advertisers. You could have your employer fire you. You could be doxxed by the media. You could have your life ruined simply for being a Trump supporter. Let's say we live in that kind of a society, which we do. Okay. Somebody calls you up on the phone. Hey, do you support Trump? How many people are going to say yes to that question? Some, sure. But many are not, because people don't want to have to deal with it. But when you go into the voting booth, you're alone. Nobody's going to know who you voted for. Or when you fill out your ballot at home and mail it, nobody else is around. Nobody else sees. You don't have to publicly announce who you voted for. Your employer's not going to know. All the intolerant, hateful leftist Democrats who hate Trump voters aren't going to know. And that's when those people who said they're supporting Biden to the pollsters say, you know what? Actually, Trump. So that you got to take that. And so when you take all that into account and Trump is still within 3 or 4 points of Biden, that's easy. That's a Trump win. I'm so for Trump, I bleed orange. Amen, Novaya. Trump v. Biden. Trump has higher points than in 16 in most real swing states, Wisconsin as well. Oh, good, Rantwar. Good. That's a great point, Rantwar. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, one person who answered polls. Subtly is in the house. What up, Subtly? Subtly, somebody earlier was thanking you for a gifted sub. I can't remember who it was, Subtly, but somebody earlier in the chat was trying to thank you for the gifted sub. Riff Tracks, if I ever get called a racist for stating I'm a Trump supporter, I'll laugh in their face. Riff Tracks, you know that's what the media is out there saying. There was literally, I literally just like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there was some mainstream media story that literally said, at this point, if you still support Biden or if you still support Trump, you're a... Whoa! Subtly with the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Who was it? I can't remember, Subtly. I can't remember. I wish I could. Wow, Subtly, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Subtly. That's huge, man. That is awesome. Okay. All right. You're the man, Subtly. You're the man. All right, so this is Pennsylvania polling Trump v. Clinton v. Johnson versus Stein from 2016. August 11th. Wow, dude. Look at that. In August of 2016, Hillary Clinton, 46, Trump, 37. Now, let's see what the actual... What were the 2016 Pennsylvania results? Donald Trump, 48.2% to 47% Pennsylvania. So the polls in August of 2016 had Hillary Clinton beating Trump by, what is that? 8 points. And Trump ultimately won. Today, Pennsylvania, Trump v. Biden, we have Biden up by 5 points or 6 points only. Wow. So Trump is in a better spot right now in Pennsylvania polling. Not even taking into account how wrong this is taking into account how wrong the polls were. So if the polls were wrong by 8 points, or 9 points since he beat her by 1 point, and you give Trump 8 more points here, he destroys Biden. That's awesome, Rantwar. That's a good comparison to make. Compare those two. Good stuff, man. Subtly, thank you again, Subtly. Thank you very much for the gifted subs. We are up, folks. Our subs are climbing again. We're on the upswing on the subs. Let me update my sub number here. We are now at 441 subs. Let's go, baby. On the road to 800. The road to 800. Willie Brown's op-ed on August 8th in the San Francisco Chronicle opened with, if Joe Biden offers a VP slot to Kamala Harris, my advice to her would be to politely decline. Oh, I read that. I read that guess. I read that. Yeah, what was her, Wisconsin as well? Awesome, Rantwar. I totally believe that. What was his reasoning for that guess? It was like, he's probably going to lose, save yourself, save everybody else. I heard Todd Herman talking about how no one has ever picked a VP that they've debated against. I think this pick is very strange. Oh, I know, subtly. I've been sitting here talking for an hour and a half about how strange and weird this pick is. Very, very, very strange pick. Doesn't make any sense. Kamala Harris does nothing to help Biden in the states that he needs to win. Oh my gosh, I think my AC is off. Let me be right back.
We will care for America's seniors as we develop the vaccine and therapeutics are coming along very, very well. We think we have some great answers on therapeutics, and you'll be hearing about them in the very near future. I'm very much into the world of therapeutics, where you go into the hospital and you give a shot, or you do what you have to do with it, perhaps transfusion. It's combinations of what you can do. And people get better. I like that very much. I like that very, very much. And that could even proceed in its successful.
My guess subtly is that he painted himself into a corner by saying that he was going to pick a black woman, painted himself into a corner on that, and then Kamala Harris was the best choice out of all the black female candidates. And so either that or the DNC forced him into it because the DNC knew that Joe Biden is likely to lose, and they didn't want to damage other rising stars like a Stacey Abrams or something. So in order to protect Stacey Abrams and other rising stars, they had him pick Kamala Harris so that Kamala Harris gets the scar from losing the 2020 election.
That will, I think, probably even precede vaccines.
Cold Soul, what up, Cold Soul?
But therapeutically, we're doing very, very well. A lot of people are going to
Harmony, what up?
When they see some of the numbers that I'm seeing and some of the results. So tremendous things are happening on the vaccine front and the therapeutic front. And our country should be very proud of itself. We're going to get it delivered very rapidly as soon as it comes out. Okay, questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. 20 million people are due to be evicted from their homes next month. And do you fear that this could be your Herbert Hoover moment if you do not reach it?
Workday Pegasus. What's up, Workday Pegasus? I would just say, look, Trump is fighting against some very evil and corrupt institutions like the media and reporters, and they are horrible towards him, and so that's how he reacts. That's how he is. But more importantly, you don't have to defend that. If Trump is rude to a reporter, or Trump is a bully to a reporter or something, you don't have to defend it. You can just say, okay, so Trump was a little bit mean to that reporter there, and it was rude. So there's bigger issues here. Trump's not perfect. Trump is a human being. Trump makes mistakes. Subtly gifting another tier 1 sub to Twister. Thank you, Subtly. Omni, welcome. I would just say, yeah, sure. Trump was a little bit of a bully to that reporter. Trump's not perfect. He made a mistake. So I forgive him. There's other more important issues. He's better on policy. He's not corrupt. He's not evil. And I still support him. Given the fact that compared to 16, you can't just be fired. Sometimes you can literally be physically attacked if you come out for Trump in cities like Portland or Seattle and others. Exactly, Rantwar. Yep, exactly. The hatred towards Trump supporters is way stronger now than it was in 2016. Hardy, what's up, Hardy? Holy cow, been a while, Hardy. Welcome. Hey, Lecture, finally caught a stream. Been super busy and haven't been around lately. Well, welcome, Hardy. Thanks for stopping back in. Good to have you here. Numb. That is hilarious. Numb. Kamala Harris. I believe Biden accusers. Yeah, so Kamala Harris literally believes that Joe Biden is a rapist and a racist. Kamala Harris believes in her heart of hearts that Joe Biden is a racist and a rapist. And yet she is now going to be working to get him elected as president. What? Because Joe Biden's accusers accused him of rape, and Kamala Harris said she believes them. So, hello? And then she called him a racist for not supporting busing. NFL bans live national anthems. Are you serious? Gosh, I'm so happy I'm boycotting the NFL. What a joke, dude. What a complete joke. Kamala Harris said Tuesday she believes women who say they felt uncomfortable after receiving unwanted touching from Vice President Joe Biden. Oh, so this isn't actually about the rape accusation. I believe them, and I respect them being able to tell their story and having the courage to do it. Several women had come forward to allege Biden has touched them inappropriately. Oh, okay. Lucy Flores, a Democrat, made the accusation on a Monday. Amy Lapos told the Hartford Courant that Biden also touched her inappropriately. So, okay. So Kamala Harris believes that Joe Biden is a creep and touches women inappropriately, and he's a racist, but yet now she's going to work to get him elected? Exactly, sheep. I don't think Kamala Harris believes anything she said, so it's easy for her to probably say, "Oh, whatever. I didn't mean that when I said that." It's horrible, but it's true. Harris's VP is a disaster of a choice. I agree, Hardy. I've never felt better. I've never been more confident about 2020 than I am right now. Like, I think that tells you all you need to know. You know, the Democrats are not real excited right now. Go look at some of the Democrat streams. They're not super excited and super happy. I am. Trump supporters are. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, let's go to predict it. What are the betting odds doing? Are they changing like crazy right now? Because most Democrats are not happy and most Republicans are happy. Presidential election winner. No, Biden's still... Actually, Biden is up in the betting odds, which doesn't make any sense. True subtly. Twister, I'm drunk, so I'm not going to get political like normal. Quietly, Yankees in booth. Nice, Twister. Can you imagine if Trump or any Republican or anyone that's not a Democrat in general said poor kids can be just as bright as white kids? Oh, that was the worst thing. I can't believe. No, Biden has said a bunch of racist stuff like that. He said that you have to have a slight Indian accent in order to work at a 7-Eleven. I mean, he said a bunch of horrible stuff, but he's a Democrat, so it gets a pass. Right, Hardy, yeah. Kamala Harris literally called Biden a racist during the debates because of the busing issue. She accused him of basically being a racist on that issue. So it's like, what in the world? True, Omni. They still have voting fraud potentially. True. Biden told by his handlers he is happy to be Biden's VP pick. Nice. Thoughts on the Electoral College? I love the Electoral College, sheep. The Electoral College is very important to our constitutional structure. The Electoral College is a genius system devised by our founders to stand up the federal system of government we have. And it's worked wonderfully throughout American history, and it still works perfectly and exactly as designed. And the fact that Donald Trump won the presidency but still lost the popular vote because of huge numbers of votes from New York City and California, that proves that the Electoral College is working exactly as designed. It's not the case that, you know, because Trump won the Electoral College but lost the popular vote, that means there's something wrong with the Electoral College. No, that actually means that that's exactly how it's supposed to work. That's the entire point of the Electoral College, is to have that type of a situation happen. And so I think the Electoral College is wonderful, awesome. I think anybody that dislikes the Electoral College has a lot deeper problems with the American Constitution. And if you're gonna criticize the Electoral College, what you're really criticizing is our Constitution. And if you want to change the Electoral College, what you really want to change is the fundamental nature of our constitutional government. And I think it's absolutely despicable that Democrats are wanting to destroy our Constitution by getting rid of the Electoral College. Is that clear enough for you?
Congress to set up a new CARES Act.
We are not allowing that to happen.
True,
We're
tactical.
stopping evictions. We are stopping evictions. We're not going to let that happen.
And also,
we're not going to evict people. We're not going to let people. The Democrats, maybe they don't care, but I care. And we signed an executive offer, executive.
I think that's so bad. Who does Trump think he is? saying that he's going to prevent landlords from evicting people. If renters don't pay the rent, they need to be evicted. That's justice. This idea that the president can ban evictions, I think, is preposterous. Trump is the most hilarious thing is, like, Trump is like a hardcore Democrat. Having the president via executive order ban evictions is one of the most liberal Democrat things I've ever heard of in my life. Trump is more liberal than any Democrat president we've had. I mean, and yet Democrats are still criticizing him. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Thoughts on a two-party system? My thoughts on the two-party system is, hear me out, cheap. We have a two-party system. That's what we have. Would Democrats let Trump be president if he won the popular vote and lost the Electoral College? I think it's a good brain exercise. Oh, of course not, Novaya. Tactical is right when he earlier said the only reason Democrats don't like it is because it works against them right now. This is what Democrats do. They're incredibly short-sighted. It's like Democrats wanting to pack the Supreme Court. The only people in American history that have wanted to pack the Supreme Court have been Democrats. They also want to get rid of the filibuster. Democrats, they're always wanting to make these huge, massive structural changes just to achieve their short-term goals. It's like they don't think past the next election. It's like, oh, you know, we had this one thing that we didn't like, so we're gonna make permanent structural changes because something worked against us one time. It's absurd. I can't stand it, the way that these Democrats, just because something's not working their way for one time, they want to make permanent structural constitutional changes, like the Electoral College, back in the Supreme Court, getting rid of the filibuster. Horrible, horrible things long term, but the Democrats think it'll benefit them short term, so they do it. Whoa! Holy cow! We got 2 gifted subs right away. Harmony and Omni with the gifted subs. Thank you so much, Harmony and Omni. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, the hype train just cooled down. Cool down complete. Hype train is ready to leave the station. Sweet. Thank you for the gifted subs, man. Thank you so much. The Electoral College is designed to avoid what Jefferson called the tyranny of the masses, whereby giant masses of people could bully minorities with impunity. The Electoral College gives power to those that liberals claim to protect, minorities and the vulnerable. Keep in mind, in a true democracy, 51% of the population could vote the other 49% into slavery. Right, Saintly. Amen. Amen. Saintly Wig. Well said, Saintly. Well said, Saintly. Amazing. Amazing. MJ Halevi. Yeah, I've been talking about it for 2 hours straight, but I'll say it again, MJ. I think Kamala Harris is a terrible, terrible pick by Joe Biden because it does nothing to help him win the upper Midwest states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, which is what he needs to win. Also, it doesn't excite the Democrat base because the Democrat base views her as a cop, going so far as to call her Cop Mala. And so I don't understand the pick. I think there's something weird going on with the pick. Like the DNC didn't want to sacrifice some of their rising stars. Holy cow! PM with another 5. Wow, PM. Thank you so much, man. Holy cow. You Are Loved says, so glad you're doing this on Twitch, Lecture Fan. We need you. Thank you, You Are Loved. Thank you. I'm doing my best, You Are Loved. I'm out here doing my best. Wow, PM. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your personal views on her politics compared to other Dems. Oh, I think Kamala Harris she's just like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. She actually doesn't have politics. Kamala Harris, just like Hillary Clinton, will say and do anything to get elected. She doesn't have any deep, heartfelt principles. But that said, she's a scary leftist. She said during the debates that she was willing to do. Kamala Harris said she was willing to ban guns with executive order. I remember during the debate, I was flabbergasted. The Democrat debates, they were talking about guns, and Kamala Harris said, Yes, I do believe in banning assault weapons, and if Congress doesn't act, I will. Holy cow! Subtly gifting 6 tier 1 subs. Holy cow, thank you, Subtly. Wow. Kyle, I think Amy Klobuchar would have helped Biden. Amy Klobuchar is from the upper Midwest, which is where Biden needs to win. She's viewed as more sort of right-leaning. No, Lion Snake, I think that Susan Rice is too damaged because everybody knows she lied in the face of the American people about Benghazi. Wow, subtly. We're up to 4. Wow, guys. We are now up to 455 subs, baby. Let's keep it going. I think we need one more person to do 100 bits or a sub, and we'll do another hype train, baby. Let's do another hype train. 455 subs. Thank you so much, Subtly, PM, Harmony, Omni. You guys are all awesome. Sinja, thank you guys for all the gifted subs. You guys are awesome. Very much appreciate the support. Support conservatism on Twitch. You bet, MJ. Exactly, Saintly Wig. That's another great example of it. Another great example of it, Saintly Wig. Yep, exactly, Juggalo Mid. Kamala puts her finger in the wind and goes from there. Yep. I don't think she has deep, heartfelt beliefs. Sugar and Tangerines is in the house. Wow, we got the whole family. We got Sugar and Tangerines and Cherry and Mama Lecture in the house. Sugar and Tangerines, thank you so much for stopping in. We're having a blowout stream here tonight, Sugar and Tangerines. 89 viewers, subs flying left and right. We've already had one hype train. We got Hardy looking at the Lecture Fan merch. Let's go.
Order, you know that, right? And we are not letting people be evicted.
It was a suggestion. Thank you, President Trump. If I could have 2 questions, I'd like to ask you one about Senator Harris's record, and then a different one about FISA abuse.
Sure.
Oh, here we go.
So
here we go.
Regarding Senator Harris's record, you had a pretty...
Wait, what do you mean, Omni? It's either me or Killer Steven. I put my money on you. What do you mean, Omni? For what? Me or Killer Steven for what? Me and Killer Steven are great buds. We're good friends. We both like each other, support each other. There's no competition between me and Killer Steven. There it is! Hype train! Hype train incoming! Thank you, Fellhammer. Thank you so much, Fellhammer. There it is, baby! Hype train, let's go!
Quick response to that, you had an ad out that said that she was a phony, and I wanted to...
Holy cow, guys, we're already at a level 4 hype train because of so many gifted subs to start that off. We're already at a level 3. We're 4% of the way to a level 4 hype train. 4.5 minutes to go.
She was a what?
Phony. And I wanted to ask about a specific example that a lot of people thought was a phony moment. As San Francisco DA, she oversaw, according to the Mercury News, 1,900 marijuana convictions. But she was asked in an interview last year if she had smoked marijuana, and she appeared to joke and, according to some people, lie and say that she was listening to Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Well, their music hadn't come out at the time, while she said she was smoking pot, listening to it. Why would she lie about that? Do you see that as more evidence that is her past on marijuana a liability?
Well, she lied. I mean, she said things that were untrue. She is a person that's told many stories that weren't true. She's very big into raising taxes. She wants to slash funds for our military at a level that nobody can even believe. She
thanks, Omni.
is against fracking. She's against petroleum products. I mean, how do you do that and go into Pennsylvania or Ohio or Oklahoma or the great state of Texas? She's
Trump gets it. Trump gets it. Whoa! PM with 500 bits coming in hot. Gets us up to 26% of the way to a level 4 hype train with 3 minutes to go. Thank you, PM. Man, you're killing it tonight, PM. Thank you. Thank you so much. 500 bits coming in hot.
Fracking's a big deal.
PM,
she's in favor
nachos.
of socialized medicine, where you're going to lose your doctors, you're going to lose your plan. She wants to take your health care plans away from 180 million Americans. 180 million
99
Americans
viewers.
are very happy with
We're about to crack 100 viewers, guys.
their health insurance, and she wants to take that away. So.
Oh, I know, tactically. It is. The anti-fossil fuel is so clueless, and it's so horrible. It's like they literally hate fossil fuels. Love Alaska with 300 bits. Thank you, Love Alaska. That gets us up to 39% of the way to a level 4 hype train. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go to get to 100%. Thank you, Love Alaska. Omni gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Holy cow. This is really turning into a blowout stream, you guys. Thank you, Omni. Wow. Now it's a level 4 hype train. Oh my word. Thank you, Omni. This is my best stream in a long time. And it's a Tuesday night. All my best streams are Monday and Tuesday. And so here we are on a Tuesday having a blowout stream. Thank you, Omni. Thank you so much, Omni. I really appreciate that. You guys are all supporting me so much. I very much appreciate it. You guys are all inspiration to me, and supporting a capitalist conservative on Twitch. It's a good thing. Thank you, guys. But no, yeah, no, these Democrats are actually opposed to like fossil fuels. It's honestly, it's insane. It's almost as bad as defunding the police. It's like, can you imagine? Get rid of gasoline, get rid of oil, get rid of coal, get rid of the police. It's lunatic stuff. Yeah, this is a good stream. I'm still up to 3:55 a.m. Awesome. Workday Pegasus. Yeah, I'm in a good mood tonight. I'm energized. I'm feeling really good. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. I just feel so happy about the Kamala Harris pick. I honestly I made a prediction that it would not be Kamala Harris because I didn't think that's a good pick. I think it's a terrible pick. So I'm so happy that Biden did it because I think it helps Trump win this. The stream is evidence voter. Right, Sinja? Right? Jazzy still sitting there with no sub. Right, Jazzy? This has been a really great stream, and chat has been evidence. Wait, what? And chat has been spicy, but well, TOS behaved. True, PM, true. Raven Looney, thank you for the follow. I thought you already followed. High energy lecture, right, Sneaky? We got a high energy lecture going in. Who do you think would have been Biden's best shot? Oh, subtly, I said Amy Klobuchar. I think Amy Klobuchar would have been his best choice because well, let me step back. He had narrowed it down to a woman. So out of the women, I think Amy Klobuchar, because she's from the upper Midwest, she's seen as more reasonable, sort of conservative. I think people in the upper Midwest would be more comfortable with her than a California liberal. Frankly, I think if it didn't have to be a woman, I think he would have been better off picking a Republican like John Kasich. Can you imagine if Joe Biden picked a Republican like John Kasich? I'd be concerned then. I would be more concerned about this election if Joe Biden had picked a conservative Republican. Can you imagine? That would be scary. Thank you, Sneaky. Thank you so much, Sneaky. 2 minutes left, guys. We're 37% of the way to a level 5 hype train. 2 minutes left to try to get to a level 5 hype train. Let's go. But no, I mean, can you imagine how scary that would be? If he had chosen like a John Kasich or something. Second question, do you think he picked VP solely on attempts to gain votes or because of views? I don't know, subtly. I'm not so sure either of those were the reasons. I think something weird is going on here because I don't think Kamala Harris makes sense under either of those standards. Keep putting out good content and I'll support you as long as you're on here. Well, thank you, Omni. Gosh, that's so nice of you, Omni. Thank you so much. I'll keep doing my best to keep putting out good content every day, every night, putting out good content. Look at you go. That's right, Sugar and Tangerines. Look at me go. Look at the lecture fan stream blow up. We're at 460 subs now. 45 seconds left, folks. 45 seconds left on the second hype train. Almost to level 5. We're at 460 subs, 100 viewers, 97 viewers. Let's go. I don't know. I really don't know what is going through Biden's head, what's going on in the DNC. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some ulterior motive for Kamala Harris. Not because of her views, not because she's going to get votes, but more something weird like they know that Biden's going to lose and they didn't want to damage anybody else, or Kamala Harris made some corrupt deal or corrupt promise. Something like that. Hype train success. There it is, baby. Level 4. Thank you guys to everybody. Oh, such strong support. Level 5 completed. Wait, I only thought I made it to level 4. 16 subs and 900 bits. Wow. That's a good hype train. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
She was my #1 pick. I mean, she was.
I love that how Trump says he wishes Kamala Harris would have won the nomination because she's so bad. I'm just so glad that Biden chose somebody so bad. If Biden would have chosen a conservative, it would have been, I'd been concerned. Yeah, Sith. Maybe you're right, Sith. Really, Twister? Choo Choo is right. Whoop. Thank you, Sugar and Tangerines. Ook Luke 12. What up? Biden going to call it quits and pass to Kamala. You think? Because she's bought and paid for, she'll be more of a sell once Biden's out of the picture? Yeah. But I don't understand. Like, if Biden was going to step down and pass it to Kamala Harris, why? Kamala Harris can't win the election. Kamala Harris got absolutely destroyed in the Democrat primary. That's what I don't understand about this pick. It's like, look, Kamala Harris was tested. She ran for president. She was in the primary. She got destroyed. Did she win? I mean, look at how many votes she got in the, like, she could hardly get a vote in the primary. She can't even get Democrats to vote for her, let alone a broad section of Americans.
Americans. 180 million Americans that are very happy with their health insurance, and she wants to take that away. So she was my #1 pick. I mean, she was, as they would say, because hopefully you'll start college football, she was my #1 draft pick. And we'll see how she works out. She did very, very poorly in the
she did
primaries, as you know. She was expected to do well, and she was
good point, Reg.
Right around 2%, and spent a lot of money. She had a lot of things happening, and so I was a little surprised that he picked her. I've been watching her for a long time.
Okay, so Trump is surprised too. So okay, interesting. That's really interesting. I didn't know that Trump said he was surprised, because I was surprised. I actually did not think it was going to be Kamala Harris, and obviously Trump didn't either. Trump is even surprised. This pick does not make sense. It does not make sense. Danny the Penguin's in the house. What up, Danny? Biden won't step down. I agree. I don't think he will either. Kamala Harris has obviously gone all this year for her party. Obviously gone all this year for her party. All in. I can't type. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she has. Kamala Harris is all in for the Democrat Party. She's for sure. Who got picked for VP? Kamala Harris. Can I support Trump and hope his executive order to send another stimulus loses in the courts? Of course, Novaya, of course. I don't support his executive orders either. Now, I think Trump's executive orders are smart politically. I think they're smart political moves, but I do not support them as a matter of constitutionality or policy. I think it's actually pretty terrible that the president thinks he can prevent evictions. I think that's totally unconstitutional, huge violation of property rights. I think that's really pretty terrible. But I think it's smart politically, and I still hope Trump wins 2020. And I'm going to vote for him, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Trump wins. So let's do it.
Was expected to do well, and she ended up at right around 2% and spent a lot of money. She had a lot of things happening, and so I was a little surprised that he picked her.
Yeah.
I've been watching her for a long time, and I was a little surprised. She was extraordinarily nasty to Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh then, now Justice Kavanaugh. She was nasty to a level that was just a horrible thing, the way she treated now Justice Kavanaugh, and I won't forget that soon. So she did very poorly in the primaries, and now she's chosen. So let's see how that all works out.
Or does the marijuana legalization vote for you rather than her because she convicted so many people in the past?
I can't tell you what she's voting for. I don't think she knows what. I think Joe knows even less than she does. But I was a little surprised at the pick. A lot of people would say that might be the pick. I was more surprised than anything else because she did so poorly. Many people did much better than her in the primaries. She did very
That's a great point. It's like, why would you pick somebody who could never get traction in the Democrat primary? She couldn't even get Democrats to support her. That's a really good point, Saintly. Saintly Wig says, I think the reason for Dems making bad choices on policy and candidate picks is they've been going off the loudest and craziest 5% of leftists, thinking that the loudest 5% represents the rest of Democrats, and it doesn't. They would see all the talk about certain things. Reddit is a buzz, and Twitter's rabbling about... Yeah, that's a great point. That's such a good point, Saintly Wig. These people think that Twitter represents the mainstream of America when it's literally only 5% of Americans are on Twitter, and they're pandering to the most extreme elements of the Democrat Party. It's crazy. I mean, I think they're scared. I think mainstream normal Democrats are scared of the radical left because they're going to get canceled. Ace Man, what up, Ace Man? Dylan Burns called me a communist. That's funny. But no, I mean, it's on a bunch of different issues that the Democrats are pandering to the extreme elements of their party, whether it comes to policing issues, whether it comes to fossil fuels and climate change, whether it comes to crime, whether it comes to socialism, whether it comes to all of these different things, and that's why they're driving normal Democrats away from the party. Normal, traditional, mainstream Democrats are going to vote Trump because Joe Biden and the Democrat Party is pandering to the extreme elements, and I think they're scared. They're scared of cancel culture. They're scared that if you don't support the most extreme policies on transgender issues, fossil fuels, banning fossil fuels, promoting transgender issues 100% full hilt, on and on and on and on and on. They're scared because the radical left is violent, they're hateful, they're intolerant. They'll cancel a Democrat. Easy, dude. Democrat, they'll cancel. If you're a Democrat and you speak out against some of this stuff, you'll get canceled just as quick as any Republican. So I think that's a really good point, St. Lee Wig. They're basically pandering to the most extreme 5%. And I think the reasoning is because they're scared, because that extreme 5% is loud and violent and aggressive, and they don't want to stand up to it. Just got Relentless Push East. How, Lyser? How? That's the one where you start as Russia and you get all the way to the eastern shores, right? Before a certain date. How? You can't colonize fast enough to get it. I've never understood how you even do that. How do you colonize fast enough?
very poorly in the primaries. And that's like a poll. You know, that's like a poll.
Can I also ask you about FISA abuse, President Trump?
Good point by Trump.
Yes, about FISA abuse. So now it's widely accepted among Republicans that there was FISA abuse.
Tremendous FISA abuse, yeah.
The Justice Department IG has found that with the Carter Page warrant application. But we were actually warned in 2013 that the surveillance court was allegedly a rubber stamp. was approving surveillance. And I was wondering, I don't think as president you've commented on Edward Snowden, but do you think you should be allowed to return without going to prison?
So as far as Pfizer abuse is concerned, there was tremendous Pfizer abuse. It's amazing that it's taken this long, and everyone knows that it's been proven very substantially.
Interesting.
Not
Okay.
only Pfizer abuse,
I'm gonna have to try that
changing
sometime, Lacer.
documents and putting documents in front of the Pfizer court and courts that are disgraceful that they could have done it. And the fact is, we caught Joe Biden,
Correct, Saintly,
President
yeah.
Obama, the whole group. You can look at Brennan and Comey and Clapper, the whole group. We caught him spying on our campaign. This was an illegal act like no other illegal act. This was treason. This was at the highest level of treason. And Obama and Biden got
Nice
caught
twister.
spying on
That's awesome, Lacer.
my campaign, using intelligence agencies of the United States government to do it. Both.
That's the other thing. I think Trump is going to win because of what the Democrats did to him with the Russia hoax and the false impeachment. I mean, nope. Have you guys noticed this? The impeachment never gets mentioned. Have you guys noticed this? That the mainstream media and the Democrats, they're hiding the impeachment. It's as if Trump was never impeached. I just sort of realized this. They literally never talk about impeachment. They're burying that impeachment story so deep. The Democrats and the media don't want anybody to even think about it. Like, when was the last time that you guys heard about the fact that Trump was impeached? You haven't heard about it. You haven't thought about it. The reason you haven't heard about it and thought about it's intentional. That's a big, huge story that Trump was impeached based on a scam and a lie. And that story's been buried so deep that nobody's even thought about it, considered it, and that's on purpose. The impeachment's never talked about because it helps Trump, but I think the American people will remember the Russia hoax and the impeachment hoax, and they'll vote for Trump just because, dude, we can't, as a country, we cannot reward that kind of corrupt and abuse of power that the Democrats did with the Russia thing and the impeachment thing. And I think Trump needs to start talking about that more. Trump needs to bring up the fact that he was impeached on a BS fake charge and what he's talking about now. He talks about the Russia thing all the time. And he needs to tell the American people, you cannot reward this behavior by the Democrats. If you do not vote for me again, that will tell the Democrats that this kind of behavior is okay, corruption is okay. That's why I'm so worried about the election. If Trump doesn't win this thing, that basically is America saying that what the Democrats did in running hoaxes and trying to take out a sitting duly elected president based on lies and scams with a fake impeachment and a fake Russia collusion theory. And these Democrats are still going around saying essentially that Trump is colluding with Putin still. It's insane. But we cannot reward that behavior by the Democrats. And I think Trump needs to bring that out more and be like, look, Americans, you might not like me, but you have to vote for me, because if you don't vote for me, you will be rewarding corrupt, horrible behavior, and I'm the only one fighting back against this corruption. And this is the swamp. He needs to bring that up more, I think. No, I don't, subtly. I can't believe how much that impeachment story's been buried. Because Democrats know when you impeach a president and he gets exonerated and cleared by the Senate, that doesn't go so well for the impeaching party. Look at what happened to Bill Clinton. Maybe love Alaska, yeah. Them fan, you are on fire. Keep up the great work, Trump form. Thank you, them fan. Thank you. I am on fire tonight, aren't I? I think he'll bring it up during the debates. I think so too, Fubar. I think so. He needs to start running advertisements about the impeachment and the Russia hoax. They believe Trump is more corrupt. Perhaps it works somewhat, but it would depend on how many people are still on the fence after the debates. Yeah, Novi, I just think Trump needs to run advertisements and talk about the impeachment more. Everybody's forgot about it. Everybody's even forgot that Trump was impeached and then exonerated. I think they really wanted to get him expelled. I don't think they impeached for the purpose of making talking points out of it. I really think they're hoping it would legit work and get him out. Remember who his VP is? Yeah, President Pence is a liberal nightmare. Once people started thinking about President Pence, I think they stopped supporting it. Fair. Fair. Yeah, Mike Pence is 10 times more conservative than Trump is. Gosh, Trump, that was such a good pick. That's when I knew. I think that's maybe when I knew that Trump was really special and Trump was it. Was when Trump picked Mike Pence. What an incredible, incredible vice presidential pick that is. And you know, the vice presidential pick is always like the most important and the earliest pick. So that's the first major decision that a presidential candidate has to make at his VP pick. And Joe Biden goes with Kamala Harris. And look at Trump. Picked maybe one of the most incredible vice presidents this country has ever seen in Mike Pence. And what's that's on Americans' minds, as long as he keeps what the public is mad at and his messaging, excitement for the election will be sustainable. I felt like he did that more when Steve Bannon was around. Yeah, maybe. I think we'll start to see more of some of this stuff as we go along here. Do you think if the Dems take the Senate and keep the House that they will try impeachment again? Oh, of course, Love Alaska. Yeah. If Trump wins, the Democrats will not accept the election results. The Democrats still have not accepted the election results from 2000, let alone 2016 or 2020. The Democrats broadcast what they will do by accusing Republicans of it. So every time you hear Republicans talk about how Trump might not accept the results of the 2020 election, what that really says is Democrats basically admitting that they're not going to accept the results of the 2020 election. Boston sports fan with the Prime sub. Thank you, Boston, with the Twitch Prime. 14 months. That's awesome, Boston. You've been subbed for 14 months, man. Thank you so much. That's huge. Salty. Welcome, Salty. Watching the Hippy Dippy podcast, I honestly can't believe how many things you got factually wrong. I honestly have to question if you're just an actor because I refuse to believe you were this stupid. Well, you and all the other leftists who are completely disconnected from facts, reality, and the American people feel that way. I really think the Dems are going to lose control of their own party, though. If they lose, the far left is going to splinter off and start turning on the moderate left. Oh, for sure, Tactical. No, that's a really good point. I think the Democrat Party could... We could see a huge realignment. We could see a huge realignment election right here where this could reform the parties for a generation. And you're right. I think the radical left is either going to splinter off or the Democrat Party is going to get taken over by the radical left, and there's going to be a new party that basically replaces the Democrat Party. Something's going to happen. I just feel that this 2020 election is one of the most important elections in terms of actually, we have throughout American history, every 30 to 40 years, there's what's called realignment elections. And I've heard Democrats talk about how they think this is going to be a realignment election, 2020. And I actually agree that it's going to be a realignment election. I just don't think it's going to be the realignment the way Democrats think it's going to be. Dr. Rocky Balboa, welcome, doctor, welcome. I think that we could see a realignment election here where a bunch of people who were historically Democrats become Republicans. And permanently. And I think a lot of sort of the younger generation are going to vote Republican and be aligned with Republicans. I also think that we might have less division after this. Yo, Subtly, another tier 1 to Sith Critic. Thank you, Subtly. Holy cow. The subs are flying tonight. Thank you so much, Subtly. But no, so one of the ways that, like, the reason that the country is so divided right now is because we have disagreements on the fundamental role of government, right? Republicans and conservatives, you know, still believe in liberty and freedom, and the Democrats believe in socialism. And so, you know, it's not like we're just arguing, should the marginal tax rate be 39% or 35%? You know, it used to be in America that the Republicans and the Democrats agreed that the U.S. Constitution is good, freedom is good, and then the big debates were, should the marginal tax rate be 39% or 35%? And that was the big divisive debate. Now we're literally debating whether the American Constitution is good or not, whether freedom is good or not. And so the only way that that's how you get a lot of division in the country. And the only way that division ever goes away is for one of those sides to win. And I think that 2020 could be almost an end to the division, because it's going to prove beyond a doubt that the American people still support our Constitution. We do not like socialism and this far left stuff. It's going to be a realignment that could last a generation. And either the Democrat Party or another newer party, if the radicals take over the Democrat Party, is going to come out and basically say, fine, we agree, the Constitution is good, we agree with Trump. And you're going to see going forward after 2020, essentially, you know, way less division in the country, because the parties are going to go back to agreeing on fundamental issues of the government. And then we can argue over things like, should the top tax rate be 39% or 35%? Far less sort of divisive issues. So, I mean, that's why I think 2020 is so important. On top of the fact that if Trump loses in 2020, that's going to ratify and say it's okay to do that, the corruption that the Democrats did on Trump, Russia collusion, conspiracy theory, and hoax, and the impeachment. So that's why I think 2020 is so important. So important.
And Biden got caught spying on my campaign, using intelligence agencies of the United States government to do it, both before and after the election. So before the election, then after I won, they continued. It's total illegal activity, and now we just have to see what's happening. But as far as Kamala is concerned, she's a big tax raiser. She's a big slasher of funds for our military, and she's got a lot of difficult things that she's going to have to explain. Plus, she was very, very nasty to, one of the reasons that surprised me, she was probably nastier than even Pocahontas to Joe Biden. She was very disrespectful to Joe Biden, and it's hard to pick somebody.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier too, when it's like Kamala Harris is just mean. You know, she just, and when I was watching Tulsi Gabbard is a, you know, frankly, Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris are both good-looking women, but they have such a different personality and attitude. Like, Tulsi Gabbard comes off as warm and nice and genuine and believable, and Kamala Harris is the exact opposite. She seems disingenuous, cold, mean-spirited, very, very unlikable. So that's why I think that's why Trump is surprised. I'm surprised by the pick. Trump is surprised by the pick. It's like, why would you pick somebody who's so mean-spirited and unlikable and lacking in any morals or integrity or principles, like, that is not even gonna make the base happy because they think she's a cop and they hate cops, and it's not gonna help you win the upper Midwest. It makes no sense. That's why there has to be some other reason that's not obvious on the surface. "99% real." Right, subtly. Maybe 1% of me is, you know, maybe playing it up a little bit for the stream, but no, 99% real. I love how everybody is like acting as if I'm playing a character and I'm trolling when I literally just am having the same opinion that 50% of Americans have. Did you see Hassan? Did you guys see Hassan tweeted out? Hassan tweeted out the video for the Royale podcast, and he quoted me in his tweet. I don't know if you guys saw that. Hassan quoted Lecture Fan in the tweet where he tweeted out the video from the Royale podcast. Cool, Hardy. Thank you so much, Hardy. Thank you. When did you realize you were a conservative? Thunder Fizz. What up, Thunder Fizz? When I was 18. Basically, when I was 18, I kind of went through a stage in my life where I was questioning my faith in God, and I was questioning my political beliefs, and I don't know, maybe 6 months. For 6 months when I was 18, I really kind of rejected conservatism and rejected God and stuff when I was 18, and really kind of went into a kind of a dark place spiritually. And then ultimately, after doing some real deep kind of studying and stuff, ended up to become a believer and be a conservative again. Cobra, welcome, Cobra. I like that everyone was like, true, when you made the male feminist comment. Right, and then Hassan claiming he's not a male feminist. It's like, really, Hassan? So now you're denying that you're a feminist? It's like, Hassan is the leader of like the left on Twitch. Hassan, the #1 liberal Twitch streamer, and he denies that he's a feminist. It's like, I thought socialists thought that they were feminists. Why did Hassan deny that he's a feminist? Did anybody understand that? Why did Hassan refuse to admit that he's a male feminist? Did anybody understand that? That's a good point, Saintly Wig. Wow, Saintly Wig, you're on fire tonight, Saintly Wig. You need to be here more often, Saintly Wig. You're making great points tonight.
Respectful when
PBLC Truth, welcome to the stream. Young Coleo, welcome to the stream.
she said things during the debates during the Democrat.
I'll show you why. Here's a story from July 8th. Joe Biden says some funding should absolutely be redirected from the police. Biden said police forces don't need surplus military equipment. Joe Biden said in an interview Wednesday that some funding should absolutely be redirected from the police. So look up your stats before you say that I was lying when I said that Joe Biden wants to defund the police. Do you know what that's called? When you redirect money that was going to go to the police and put that money somewhere else, that's defunding. Maybe not 100%. Maybe it's not 100% defunding, but I never said that he was in favor of abolishing the police, which would be the 100% defunding. I said he was in favor of defunding, which, if you don't know, there's a video of this too.
What's beautiful today? Embrace.
If you don't know, transferring funds away from the police to something else is literally the definition of defunding the police.
Those beautiful children.
Hi.
How you doing? Addie, how are you, pal?
Mr. Vice President, Dr. Biden.
Yeah,
Thanks
this was
for
the
doing
interview.
This. Before we start,
I don't know where it's at, but this is a 27-minute interview he did with activist Addy Barkin. I'm not familiar with him, but this is the video. If you guys ever want proof that Joe Biden supports defunding the police, it's right here. He said absolutely wants to redirect funding away from the police, which is the literal definition of defunding the police. Yes, Novaya.
Democrat primary debates that were horrible about Sleepy Joe, and I would think that he wouldn't have picked. OAN, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday, Seattle City
Gundam, what up?
voted to cut funding for their police department, and the police chief there, Carmen Best, the first black woman to serve in that capacity, she resigned hours later. What does this say about our country? What does this say about the defund police movement?
Well, I think that Seattle, in spite of all that they've been through with the embarrassment of having a radical left group, Antifa and others, take over a big portion of the city of Seattle. We're talking about a big city, a major city, that they allowed that to happen is incredible.
Beautiful city, by the way.
That it took so long to fix is incredible. The only reason they went in is because they knew we were going in the following day. And so they preceded us. They didn't want that to happen. They didn't want to be...
Here, Shishi Dogman. Here's my thoughts on Indian immigrants. They're human beings. Just like everybody else. They're human beings, just like everybody else. Next question.
Embarrassed. And the people just gave up. They were exhausted from having taken over a city for so long. The police commissioner seems like a very good woman. They were going to slash her salary by 40 or 50%.
Yeah. The first African-American police chief in a major American city. What's her name? I'm drawing a blank. But this is what the liberals do. It's insane. The very first African-American police chief of a major American city, the police chief in Seattle, and the Democrats cut her salary in half, so much so that she resigns. Don't let these Democrats say for a second that they actually care about women or minorities. Saying redirecting funding is basically like saying defunding without saying it. It's like calling someone frugal instead of cheap, or calling someone previously owned instead of used. Exactly, Saintly Wig. It's a euphemism. It's a euphemism. Joe Biden literally told an activist that he absolutely wants to transfer funding away from the police, which is the literal definition of defunding. I'm sick of people saying that I lied about that. Go find the video. Go find the articles. It's out there. Just because this is what Democrats do. Just because they don't know something, just because they haven't heard about the story, just because Carmen Best, thank you, Love Alaska. Yeah, Carmen Best. Just because liberals have never heard of a story, when I tell them about the story, oh, you're lying. You know, oh, it's not that you missed that story because all you do is watch mainstream media and leftist media, and so you're completely sheltered and you've never heard the story. No, it's because I'm lying. It's like Democrats are so uninformed on anything that paints Democrats in a bad light that they literally think factual, correct stories are me just lying. It's like, dude, no, Biden literally said that. I'm not lying. You just don't know about it because you're stuck in your mainstream media bubble.
And they cut a tremendous amount off the police department, really where people are saying it's not sustainable as a good police department. And again, those police are good also, but they're not allowed to do their job. So I think it's a shame. I hate to see her go because she did, in her own way, a very good job, but she wasn't effective in convincing the mayor and the city council to give the funds that were needed, or just leave the funds away.
Right, Tactical. These leftists don't have any idea that they're actually pushing people farther and farther to the right. That's so true.
They are. They've done a big defund, a big part of it.
Right, Saintly.
And it'll probably get worse before people realize this is a tragic era, before people start dying and getting hurt very badly. So I think Seattle's made a tragic mistake. I think Portland has no clue as to what they're doing. They have no clue.
Holy cow! My man PM with 1,000 bits coming in hot. Wow, thank you, PM. Holy cow, man. Thank you so much, PM, for the 1,000 bits. That's huge. That's massive. Thank you, PM. So much support from you, PM. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hopefully they'll be asking for help because we can
No need to apologize, Twister.
solve their problem.
Wow, PM,
very quickly.
1,000
Yeah, go
bits.
ahead.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mr. President, two quick questions. One on Senator Harris. Very simply, is she going to help former Vice President Biden's chances in November, or is she not hurt?
Well, I like Vice President Mike Pence much better. He
Yeah,
is solid
baby.
as a rock. He's
Yes,
been
he
a
is.
fantastic
Solid
Vice
as a rock.
President. He's done everything you can do. He's respected by every religious group, whether it's evangelical, whether it's any other group. They respect Mike Pence. He's been a great vice president, and I will take him over Kamala and the horrible way she, again, treated Justice Kavanaugh. That was a horrible event. I thought it was terrible for her. I thought it was terrible for our nation. I thought she was the meanest, the most horrible, most disrespectful of anybody in the
All right,
U.S.
PM.
Senate.
Polls coming
She's
in hot.
also known,
I think it's
from what
150.
I understand, as being just about the most liberal person in the U.S. Senate. And I would have thought that Biden
It has
would
been
have
a good
tried
stream,
to
hasn't
stay
it?
away from that a little bit because,
Oops, sorry, I missed that.
from what I understand, as being
Yeah, PM, it's been such a good stream. Maybe my best stream this month so far. I'm having so much fun tonight, you guys.
most horrible, most disrespectful of anybody in the U.S. Senate. She's also known, from what I understand, as being just about the most liberal person in the U.S. Senate. And I would have thought that Biden would have tried to stay away from that a little bit. Because
See, this is exactly what I'm saying. Trump is literally saying exactly what I said. I literally said this exact same thing. Why would Joe Biden pick a extreme liberal? Me and Trump think alike. Is that not exactly what I've been saying all night? Is that this was a weird pick because she's so liberal? And yet she's obviously not liberal enough for the radical left. But by the way, Dope Builds is in the house. What's up? Ooh. That's not cool, Dope Builds. Trump on fire.
disrespectful of anybody in the U.S. Senate. She's also known, from what I understand, as being just about the most liberal person in the U.S. Senate. And I would have thought that Biden would have tried to stay away from that a little bit because with what they're doing with open borders and sanctuary cities,
Alpha, what up?
where they're trying to protect sanctuary cities, which is also protecting large number of criminals, with all of the things that they're doing, Second Amendment, they want to take away your Second Amendment or modify it to a point where it's essentially no longer the Second Amendment. I would have thought he would have gone a different way. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yep, I totally agree with Trump. Why would you go with a radical? It's Kamala. With no end to pandemic in sight, coronavirus fatigue grips nation. Hawaii seeing fastest spread. Of course, coronavirus fatigue everybody's got coronavirus fatigue. That's why Democrats are so doesn't make sense. Everybody has coronavirus fatigue. We want to watch college football, and Democrats are out there saying, no, we can't do anything. We have to stay locked down. This is coronavirus forever. I just don't see how that makes political sense. Who do you think would have been a good pick? I think John Kasich or some other Republican would have been really good. If Joe Biden had chosen a Republican or a conservative, I think I'd be very concerned. I would not be in such a good mood right now. I think Joe Biden should have chosen a John Kasich or somebody like that, a moderate Republican, because that would put a lot of the upper Midwest sort of swing voters, the Obama-Trump voters. There's a lot of people that voted for Obama twice and are going to vote for Trump twice. Those types of voters, I think, would have been real impressed with Joe Biden if he chose a Republican or a conservative. Instead, he went with, one of the most liberal California, like a California liberal, which I still have yet to hear anybody. I have yet to hear anybody explain to me, how does Kamala Harris help Joe Biden in the upper Midwest? Like, nobody has a theory. I've been asking it all night. Not a single person has come up. Like, literally, the CNN article literally said, let's find that, dude. Let's find that. Why pick Kamala? CNN. Yeah, here it is. Here, look at this, dude. This is crystallized. This is the CNN point. Here's why Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris. Joe Biden thinks he's going to win the White House in 84 days' time. That's the unmistakable message he sent after 4 p.m. Eastern when, via text, his campaign announced that he picked Harris. Harris, who ran unsuccessfully, which makes no sense. It's like, wait, so you think because he picked Harris, that means that he thinks he's going to win the election? Doesn't compute. It's a non sequitur. Harris, who ran unsuccessfully for the Democrat presidential nomination earlier this year, been the frontrunner to be Biden's pick for months because, well, she simply made sense. Listen to these reasons. Consider, 1, she's been vetted on the national stage due to her own 2020 bid. She has experience in government as the California AG and a U.S. Senator since 17. At 55 years old, she represents a younger generation of leaders, something that Biden, who will be 78 on Inauguration Day, said was a major factor in his choice. She's a historic pick as the first black and South Asian American woman. The first black and South Asian American woman. What? To appear on a major party's national ticket. Now it's like we're defining people by their ethnicity and combinations, like the first black South Asian, the first black North Asian, the first black West Asian. Oh, that's so historic. It's the first black Eastern Asian American woman. It's just like, she's from California, a massive treasure trove of Democrat votes and Democrat donors. Joe Biden's already going to win California. What? Acting as if that Joe Biden needs the California Democrat votes. She emerged as an outspoken voice on race and the need for police reform following the death of George Floyd in May and the subsequent protests it sparked. No, she hasn't. What has Kamala Harris come out and said about the George Floyd or the race? No, nobody's heard a thing from Kamala Harris. If you think about who's been speaking out on race and police reform since the death of George Floyd, you're not thinking of Kamala Harris. But think about this. Number 1, she's been vetted on the national stage due to her own 2020 bid. That applies to about 20 other people too. 30 other people if you include people like John Kasich, for example. So that applies to everybody. Dumb reason. Experience in government as a California AG and a U.S. Senator. That also applies to everybody. Pretty much everybody that ran or has run has experience in government. At 55-year-old, she's a younger generation. Also applies to a million other people. Historic pick as the first black and South Asian woman to appear on. That's the main reason. That's the only one that's actually, I guess, makes sense out of this whole list. Basically, what it comes down to is Joe Biden chose her because of her sex and because of her race. Joe Biden took everybody, defined them by their race and their sex, divided them up into groups based on race and sex, and then made his decision on the basis of race and sex. His primary consideration for who he chose as vice president was based on skin color and genitalia. It's insane. Has nothing to do with the person's qualities of being president or the ability of the person to be president or whether the views and values of the person line up. Nope. Literally doing it on the basis of race and sex. What kind of genitals do you have and what's the color of your skin? That's disgusting. Disgusting that he would literally pick somebody solely based on the color of somebody's skin. Exactly, subtly. Literally the definition of sexism. There was no one else on Biden's VP shortlist that checks so many boxes. This is preposterous, dude. This is the best that the Democrats have to argue for Kamala Harris. It makes no sense. What's telling is that Biden and his team didn't feel the need to reach for a less predictable pick. They knew that while picking Harris would draw considerable attention, it would also be the thing most people expected them to do. Despite the historic nature of putting Harris on the ticket, Biden and his advisors knew that selecting Harris might be described by some as unsurprising. No, it's not unsurprising. But one man's unsurprising is another man's safe, and that's exactly what Harris is and what Biden believes he needs. The only people that thought he would actually pick her are the lunatic left. True, Saintly Wig. That's another great point, Saintly Wig. You're on fire tonight with your points. Yeah. The people that care about your race and your sex are already going to vote Democrat. So why pick somebody based on race and sex to try to get voters to vote for you who define people by race and sex when that's already what the Democrats do? Unbelievable. He had someone write a group of names on his office wall, held his hand over his eyes, and threw a big chunk of poop. The poop stuck. Wow. Huh. That's interesting subtly. I don't think I've ever seen that link. Thought Pundit? Never heard of him. Thought Pundit, get deprogrammed. See, if you're Joe Biden making your third run for president and ahead in virtually every swing state and nationally over Trump, every day between now and November 3rd, you want to do nothing that threatens to change the underlying dynamics of the race. Oh my word, dude. These people think the race is over and that Joe Biden is winning right now. They're so that's maybe one of the reasons that we're all having such a hard time understanding what on earth Biden is thinking doing this. The answer is he's totally disconnected from reality. He thinks he's winning right now. No wonder Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris. He's so disconnected from reality that he actually thinks he's winning. Unbelievable. And those underlying dynamics are that this election is a referendum on Trump's first term in office, and more specifically, the deeply haphazard and erratic way in which he's handled the corona pandemic. Funny that they call the way Trump has handled the coronavirus haphazard and erratic, considering he basically listened to everything Fauci said early on. So what they're really saying is that Fauci was haphazard and erratic. I wrote in Hassan's chat that Biden is racist and Hassan got triggered. Of course he did. Under that theory of the case, Biden needs to spend most of his time convincing voters that Trump deserves to be fired in a relatively small amount of time, making sure they believe he can do the job in the incumbent's place. What that all means is that Biden wants the race to be about him as little as possible. He doesn't want to turn this into 16 all over again, which Hillary Clinton was forced by Trump to play defense over her time and emails at state. He doesn't want the race to turn into a war of words or a battle to see who can sink lower in terms of personal attacks. Oh, man. And so, in making the most important decision of his campaign, Biden abided by that approach. He wanted to, above all, do no harm. Picking former U.S. Ambassador to the UN Susan Rice, who saw her fortune soar in the final days of the Veep stakes, undoubtedly appealed to Biden since he had the closest personal relationship with her and believed she could help him heal the wounds internationally that Trump has created. But Rice's ties to the attacks in Benghazi, not to mention her presence in a January 20th, 2017 meeting on Michael Flynn, created clear attack lines for Trump's campaign to turn the spotlight from his flailing bid to Biden and Rice. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Bottoms was, without question, one of Biden's most trusted, effective, and loyal surrogates throughout 2020. She was with him when no one thought he could come back from dismal finishes in Iowa and New Hampshire. Both her time as mayor of Atlanta being her highest level of experience in elective office, Biden would open himself up to questions about whether she'd be ready to take on the job at a moment's notice. California Representative Karen Bass's time as Speaker at the State Assembly in Cali and her ability to appeal to Democrats of all ideological stripes made her an attractive choice. But past comments about Fidel Castro... Dude, here's the thing. Democrats are still hurting from the damage that Barack Obama did to the party. Remember that over the course of Barack Obama's presidencies, Democrats lost like 800 total seats, going all the way down to city council, up to senator. Democrats had their entire base wiped out. No, I didn't, SDW. The Democrats had their entire bench wiped out under Barack Obama, starting in the 2010 and all the way through 2016. And so now in 2020, Joe Biden is dealing with a party that has no up-and-coming stars and basically had no possible chance. June 2020. Why? What am I looking for here?
Because in those debates, you landed haymakers on Joe Biden. I mean, his teeth were like chiclets all over the stage. And now I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. How does that transition happen? How do you go from being such a passionate opponent on such bedrock?
Wait, Harmony, did Ilhan Omar? That wasn't tonight. Ilhan Omar won. That wasn't today, was it? It is Tuesday. Representative Ilhan Omar wins contentious 5th District primary. Wow, dude. Holy cow, dude. This is the Democrat Party. Electing people like Ilhan Omar, even after all of the horrible stuff she's done.